Good evening, everyone. It's Thursday night. It's the round table night. We are now live. Hope everyone is doing very well on this day. Let us know how you are all doing in the chat. I am joined by, as usual, by Haverok.
Hello.
And Sophie B.
Hello.
Yes, so if you are new to this channel, welcome, all the same. And this is the What If Round Table, where not only can you get your ideas and suggestions into us, and they might become a video if they really tickle our interest, or at the very least be as part of an FAQ, if they're asked often enough. But you also support the channel, especially in this difficult time. It is very much considered because, you know, we are really grateful for you guys' support, as well as just the inspiration and ideas that you guys come up with, because we have a couple of sounds ready to go for any of these situations. And yeah, so that's all there is to it, really. And in regards to R&R, we are so close. We are so close to episode 5 being done. We hopefully want to have it out for tomorrow, but you know, we'll see how it goes. But we are very close, and we'll be also able to announce the formal launch of the plush. So
Yeah.
and which plush is that? No, it's not that one. Well, yeah, I did check my Instagram, or check my Twitter. There is a cute little ranch plush, and it can be yours. And whoa, okay, wow, goodness, Nerd King, the Nerd, our king has returned. Our king
has returned.
Yeah. So before we start with the Nerd King.
The Nerd King saying, hope you guys are doing okay. The other day, me and Mum were talking Yu-Gi-Oh! The other day. Well, that's awesome in of itself. And she asked a question. What if Grandpa's blue eyes was not ripped by Kaiba? What if Yugi did inherit it? How would it affect him as a duelist and person having a blue eyes in his deck? It's like, well.
That's an interesting question.
Well, excuse me, I've got to get into character. I've got to be Little Karibo. Why, I see that we have a Yu-Gi-Oh! What If in this chat. I cannot deny that this is a rather dead sexy what if scenario in which to be playing. Be made by me, Yugi, the king of games. Well, if the Grandpa Blue Eyes, if Grandpa actually remembered he had a blue eyes was actually taken away from Kaiba, well, he would have learned even sooner that he would not dare mess with me, Yugi, the king of games. But, sorry, in all seriousness, well, I believe that, yeah, with Yugi, having that, like, realization that there's going to be someone always on your tail is very similar to the, you know, Roshi Goku scenario. You know, there's always going to be someone stronger than you, giving you really big, you know, short shrift every step of the way. Yeah, it's kind of like that. So, I find that to be quite fascinating in a way now that I think about it. So I suppose, without him having it, I imagine that Yugi probably would have just been quite entitled. What do you say, guys?
I think, oh, go ahead, Haverok.
No, I just wanted to say that my Yu-Gi-Oh! Knowledge is limited to the Abridged series mostly, so I will leave that question.
I'm only really familiar with the first couple of arcs. I would say that honestly, when it comes to the Blue Eyes White Dragon that Yugi's grandfather owned, I don't think Yugi would have ever tried to incorporate it into his deck, because while it is a powerful card, right? Yugi has always been a person who doesn't play the game with the same mindset that Kaiba does. He has cards in his deck that synergize very well, you know, as well as cards that he kind of likes because they sort of represent his personality, you know. It's like the Dark Magician is his card because of how much he loves the card. Like, as far as being a particularly powerful card, I mean, it gets by, but it's not the strongest of the kinds of cards in its tier. So I really think that when it comes right down to it, if his grandfather had got to keep the card, he'd have just, you know, kept the card, and Yugi would never have even tried to incorporate the blue eyes into his his deck, especially when, you know, he's got his own style, his own signature, and his friends who help him out, you know?
Okay, that is very true. You know, Yugi is a bit more simple and a much nicer guy than Goku, so that is a very good tool. And Manifesto, there is a backlog, and we are about to start it off now. So we are kicking it off with White Oak. But again, Nerd King, thank you very much for your support, as well as everyone else in the chat. So, White Oak, what if the tailed beast from Naruto existed in the DB verse? Ooh, okay. I suppose if they did, I suppose you could class it as magic in that kind of sense, like a mixture of ki and magic, which would be something quite different to what, you know, Goku does by hitting things really hard. But then again, Naruto eventually devolves into just punching people really hard. It does devolve into that eventually.
Yeah. I have opinions about Naruto, like I'm sure everybody does, but incorporating the tailed beasts, if I was going to incorporate the tailed beasts, I would probably try to find a way to associate them with the Dragon Balls. Like, instead of there being 9, you know, there could be 7, or instead of being 7 Dragon Balls, there could be 9 Dragon Balls, and each of them would have, like, a guardian. And each of those guardians would be one of the tailed beasts, you know? Oh. That would probably be the way that I would incorporate something like the Bijou into a Dragon Ball setting, a Dragon Ball scenario.
Okay. That would be cool, like an alternative to, you know, Shenron the dragon and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Good start. John Coleman, what if Goku progressed like Frieza during the 4 months he was training? And what if Chi-Chi continued to train? Well, if Chi-Chi definitely continued to train, she would probably use it for her own health benefits in a way, just to kind of keep her healthy and, you know, sprightly, as well as just, you know, kind of like a bit more confidence in herself, you know, self-assuredness.
And good anger management.
Oh, yeah.
Anger management.
Oh, yeah. But if Goku could progress like Frieza during 4 months, I mean, oh my god. That would be just... The Saiyans would be even more broken than they already are. It'd be bonkers.
It's even possible.
It would be absolutely bonkers, and, you know, I'd play the sound for anyone else facing against Saiyans if they could do that. Yeah, Frieza did that in 4 months. Goku in the 3 years between Namek and the androids? Oh my god. That'd be ridiculous. Anyway, moving on. We got White Oak again. What if Krillin defeated second form Frieza? Well, okay. If he did do that, and he actually was able to cut Frieza in half, then we'd have no Super Saiyan. That's for sure.
Good thing you state. Well, not exactly, because good thing you stated that defeated, because as we know, Frieza race can live through things like dismemberment, can live in pieces. They are extremely durable. So I think that if he was cut in half, he would call for Daddy, and Daddy would just go nuclear on Namek.
Yeah. Okay, that's true.
Yeah, because I mean, if he was cut in half, we'd probably still have gotten... I mean, there's also a certain degree of regeneration with his transformations, as we see. When he goes from his second and third forms and then into his birth form, his final form, whatever you want to refer to it as, he regrows his tail. So there is the possibility that even if Krillin's strike had landed true and chopped him in half, that he could have just been like, okay, playtime's over, and then transformed for the sake of regenerating himself. Now, it would have probably left him a degree weaker than he would have been otherwise. Like, I suspect it would have taken a lot of energy in order to regenerate that much through the transformation. So maybe the fight with him and Goku might have gone down a little differently. But there is always the possibility that he could have simply been like, okay, I've been cut in half. I'm upset. I'm going to transform directly into my final form and deal with these punks.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that sounds about right. Just like now that you mention in that regard. Okay. Rocket Prime. What if Bulma invented a device that could boost Goku's IQ to match his power level? Well, the thing is, I can imagine this being a really comedic little side story that Bulma creates this machine to try and make Goku smarter. And eventually, he becomes so smart, she then gets jealous because he's too smart. So then, basically, she either destroys the machine and Goku goes back to normal, or she then uses it on herself, and she ends up using it on herself. But fortunately, it's still calibrated to power level, and oops. She ends up, and her power level and IQ at 5. Oh dear.
Yeah, I would even say that, you know, it might end with a pretty dark thing with Goku, you know, going the path of Zamasu to stop the evildoers, or, you know, like smart Goku might not be the best idea because he still has his cravings, you know, in terms of...
Yeah.
To quote Dr. Briefs, "What has science done?"
Yeah, like Goku becoming hyper intelligent, like all that would honestly, it would almost make him like, it would probably lead to him becoming a more villainous character, kind of similar to Dr. Gero, because we've seen how his selfishness can come into play in stuff like Dragon Ball Super when it comes to wanting to satisfy his own desires and putting them above, whether it's subconsciously or consciously, he puts those desires above even the safety of multiple universes. And I feel like if he were hyper intelligent, it would simply go from, oh, he's just subconsciously doing it, he's adult, he's a lovable idiot, to him being more like, no, I want to manipulate everything about the universe so that I can get what I want. And that would kind of make him evil to a certain degree.
He would have a similar, you know, way of being as Goku Black, manner of speaking, I can imagine.
I almost find that it could pair very well with those "what if Goku didn't hit his head" scenarios.
Yes,
like
including one of mine.
Because, you know, a lot of people tend to write the like "what if Goku didn't hit his head" scenarios as like Goku being wild and viciously evil, right? But like, what if he did still have that kind of like that evilness or even that viciousness, but he had this hyper intelligence too, because he didn't have the brain damage.
And the brain damage.
And the brain damage.
Oh, hey, Mr. Roshi, when did you get here?
Classic.
No, really. When did he get here? And where did it out?
I've always been here, Goku. Always.
Even when I've been in the bathroom? Okay, maybe not then. But maybe. Moving on. M79. What if Broly was exiled to Earth instead of Vampa and he was raised and trained to fight under the Crane Hermit? Okay. Now usually this would be like this would be basically something that, you know, oh, Broly would destroy the planet. Okay, I'm gonna push that to the side for the moment. But if somehow, and okay, this is new Broly, so he might be less tempestuous than the original one. So I would say that he would, if he did that, he probably would end up being quite a neutral evil. Like, he wouldn't be a bad person, because I think that, you know, Master Shen would want to keep him in check and stuff like that. But I think eventually one day it would come back to haunt him. You know, Broly gets frustrated with the thing, he ends up getting really, really powerful, and he can't control him. So, yeah,
the thing that I would add, everything you said is true, but there is still the problem of Ozaru, and if Master Shen could figure out, the connection to the tail. Because while he might be less tempestuous, like, we know from Paragus that when Broly goes Ozaru,
that's it. That's Goodnight Irene, pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay. Manifesto. What if Piccolo found love? In other words, had a human girlfriend? Maybe it would be a facsimile to Martian Manhunter from the DC universe. You know what? I know that people want Piccolo to be dating someone, but I think the best thing I think the most logical thing that he would do is if he found someone he can actually talk to who wasn't a Dragon Team member. Like, doesn't have to necessarily be a girl. Just somebody that, a kindred spirit who wasn't in his daily life as a Dragon Team member, and just someone to confide in, like a confidant. I think that's the most likely scenario, but okay. Like, say, for example, I've seen a few what-ifs where they have female Namekians. So if you basically have Piccolo and a female Namekian, they'd have to find some way of being able to, have that kind of bond or that kind of, like, kinsmanship and stuff like that.
And, like, Namekian romance would look much, much different than human.
Yeah, it'd be very... Oh, what's the word? Platonic. That's it. Platonic. Yeah. Thank you. No, it would definitely be that.
One of the things that I think goes on when it comes to the whole like Piccolo thing is I think that fans tend to think that Piccolo's a bit of a lonely soul, so they want to hook him up with somebody. They want to give him somebody to love. But the thing is that Piccolo has always been. Piccolo isn't so much a lonely soul. He has friends now, especially since Gohan, You also kind of got to consider the fact that at least in early Dragon Ball, DragonBallZ, like he is still like he's childlike to some degree, and his actual age in years is not what you would think to look at him unless you're paying attention, because he's actually only like 6 years-ish older than Gohan, which means that at the time of Dragon Ball Z, he's like 10. And so I think that romance isn't something that he needs. It's not something that's necessary, especially considering Namekians are an asex race that produces via eggs, and anyone in there can produce or reproduce that way. It's not necessary. But if you were going to give him someone, whether it be a significant other or just a friend or something like that, it would need to be built upon definitely a relationship where, like, they get along because they have similar interests, that because they can just sit there and just enjoy each other's company. They don't have to talk a whole lot because Piccolo doesn't really like extended conversations.
They can meditate together.
Just, meditate. Yeah. Stand in the wasteland, drink some water. Just
you know who I think could be a good friend for Piccolo. No, not in a relationship, but good friend for Piccolo post TOP. I think it would be a good idea to pursue his like newfound, let's say newfound, well, not friendship, but like agreement with Android 17. I think those two may found a mutual interest in.
Okay.
Enjoying the nature, in being pals.
I like that possibility. It sounds good. I like that. All right. Our manifesto continues saying, I really hope you guys are well with everything going on. You still get to do what you enjoy, and you all still have our support. Thank you so much. Well, thank you too, Manifesto, and thank you all who are listening in. We really do appreciate your support, as well as your really good ideas. Speaking of which, another one from Podo. What if Roshi and Oolong met Mineta from My Hero Academia?
No.
Quality,
No.
Quality, man.
No.
Quality. After such a heartfelt thing, we get that. We kid.
You think you merely adopted the pervert. I was born to it, shaped by it. I don't think Roshi or Oolong would appreciate Mineta as much as people think. I think he's a real.
Yeah, with Mineta, I think Roshi and Oolong would be watching from the sidelines, going, he's just a little amateur. It's like, I mean, come on! He's not even doing the basic moves right! Like, what the heck is he doing? Just like face palm. No, that's not how you do it! It's like, I can't bear to watch
this kid doesn't know a single thing about being a proper pervert.
I really shouldn't watch, but I can't turn away from the cringe!
And at least we have some more kind of moral spine. At least,
Throw
those two
Jiraiya
have,
into
yeah.
the mix just for good measure.
Yeah, but
Because why
but-
not?
yeah, but at least those two have some semblance of a, you know,
Yeah.
of a moral.
They have class, you know. It's like Roshi watching the Exercise Channel. He does it because he's a
Yeah.
connoisseur.
Indeed.
You've got to use your imagination. She may be wearing clothes, but in my mind, no, sir. it's like sometimes you can't get what you want, boy. Sometimes gotta use your noggin to fill in the blanks or to remove them. Sorry.
Oh God.
Sorry. Okay.
Sometimes,
That's-
seriously, back in the day with Kemper Abridged, that was my jam. I loved. I back in those days, yeah. Think it's not aged that well, but it was still like low level smut, and it was like, you know, that kind of stuff. The double meanings, the British toilet humor. It was great. I loved it. It's great.
Oh God.
All right, White Oak. All right, let's continue with that. All right, what if the Ozaru transformation happened when seeing Son making Saiyans nocturnal? So basically, happened when seeing the sun make Saiyans.
We'll sing sun. We'll sing sun. They are nocturnal. Sun instead of moon. Like
Oh,
power
so
off.
basically, if they saw, oh man, oh jeez, then they wouldn't be able to do anything. They wouldn't be able to be anywhere near to functioning members of society.
Again, considering that sun is a star and like they would see stars at night, question is that the closest star would cause them. You know,
If
the
it's-
solar-
It could be just a degree of intensity, but then you have to ask yourself also, like, okay, well, moonlight is a
Hello?
Hello, we lost Sophie.
I think we did.
Oh.
I think she dropped
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Mm.
Let's give her a few seconds, but like, yeah, like we'll allow her to respond that because I think she had something very interesting to say about it. But
Yeah.
but to give my point, but to not go into technicalities, I would say it would make time like for Goku on Earth, it would make things noticeably harder. You know, and especially for Grandpa Gohan, like poor man who could go down the very first morning after. So, hello.
Okay,
Sorry,
apparently
I'm
I
back
lost internet connection there for a bit.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. Continue. You are
So
talking about the
where
sun.
was I? Yeah. Okay. Well, my ultimate point was that the sun is always full. There aren't
Yeah.
stages of the
Yeah.
sun. So if somebody had a transformation that was based on sunlight, they would have to live their lives like a vampire,
Yeah.
essentially, and never go out during the day.
Yeah. And
Mm.
again, Grandpa Gohan would probably be gone the very next morning when he found Goku.
and Vegeta, I think, eventually would say,
Excuse me, Nappa. I just feel like going out for a little walk. It's like, Vegeta, remember what happened last time you went for a walk? Come on, they got in my way. That's all I'm going to say.
He'd be Alucard.
Shooby-dooby-da, shooby-dooby-dooby-da.
Yeah. All right. Manifesto. What if blank was written a better character? Whom would each of you pick to rewrite or utilize better in Dragon Ball Z or Super? P.S. Happy Easter. Happy Easter to you too,
Jiren.
Manifesto. Okay. Let's keep this short because we're doing all three. So Jiren, why?
Jiren, because I believe that he can be a cool character, but then the TOP would need to be written from his perspective to show him as a hero and Goku as an a-hole.
Okay, Sophie.
Say the question again.
If you could pick a character to be better written in any of the Dragon Ball series, who would you pick?
Oh God, a character to be better written. If it could be anybody, I'd probably say Roshi. mostly just because I don't really. He's a very dated archetype, and I really don't care for those kinds of characters. They're funny enough in the moment, but honestly, that kind of humor is very dated these days. And if we're talking about writing the character better, right? Like not just writing a better scenario for different characters, like giving the humans more to do, etc., etc. If we're talking writing a better character, I would probably say Roshi. And if not Roshi, maybe do something with the original cast from Dragon Ball, like Oolong and Puar, like because we got so little from them, even though the transformation school of martial arts is so interesting and unique. I feel like any of those characters could probably have been given more or written better or more well-rounded.
Okay. All right. Cool. If I could pick one, I would definitely say with Yuri, from Super.
Yurin, yeah.
Yeah. It basically it's like she is a great addition to Ten Shinhan's arc. Fantastic. Like the basic idea is like, okay, cool, childhood friend, potential love interest, but you know, someone who just wants to get the respect and attention of who she looked up to. That is a really cool idea. And it gives Ten Shinhan something to work with. But you never see her again. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, it was executed poorly.
Yeah. But the idea that, you know, Ten Shinhan just got up and left, you know, that makes sense. That is something he would do at the time. But it was just like, oh my god. Just please. This is such a character that needs a little bit more elaboration. And I would definitely do that, you know, for like a small video or something like that. But anyway, let's move on. Hannah Rowan. What if Ten Shinhan was able to learn to use the godlike powers his third eye is said to bestow after he became good? Well, he would certainly be a lot more relevant, that's for sure. And it'd be a different facet of powers. Certainly. So, I would definitely say that, yeah, it would definitely give him that new facet. You know, something a bit more like to work with in that regard. Anyway, let's get the likes up. We'll get the likes up to 100 at least. Let's please the algorithm, everyone. Alright, Super Spork. Bora, Nom, Suno, and Eita all joined the team. What if? Bora, Nom, I could see them being quite useful. Suno, maybe as like some kind of like other, you know, facsimile. She's not necessarily a fighter. But in terms of, like, you know, moral support and kind of, like, helping out with other things, yeah, she could be good. And Eita, he doesn't want to fight. That's the thing. So he'd be basically almost like the pacifist of the group if you wanted to have him in as a regular. So I think that's all I have to say. Manifesto.
You know, he ought to be the strong pacifist type.
Yeah, no, that's what I say.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he'd be like that. Yeah. Manifesto. What if Dragon Ball Super Broly versus Kefla happened? Who would win? Broly.
Yeah,
just
Broly wins.
Just sheer because now we have the time limit. We have the time limit on Potara, so Kefla would only be around for 7 minutes. At okay, maybe not 7, because that was blue power. So maybe about 20 minutes tops. 20 minutes.
And consider that Broly dominated his individual fights against Vegeta and Goku after his power started to rise, after he started to internalize and get those power boosts. And when he had his Super Saiyan transformation, the power scale was so absurd that like Goku and Vegeta had no chance of facing off against him in their individual forms, right?
No.
Now when they fused
Yeah.
When they fused into Gogeta, things changed and Gogeta dominated. But here's the big thing: Kefla, in the Tournament of Power, still was ultimately defeated by Goku. And even if it was a result of the fact that Goku had been kind of tapping into unmastered and later mastered Ultra Instinct and stuff like that throughout the course of the tournament, he was still holding his own pretty well in the fight, just using Super Saiyan Blue. So you kind of have to ask yourself, do you really think that Broly, who was smacking around Golden Frieza for an hour, and both Vegeta and Goku individually in their Super Saiyan Blue forms, do you really think that he wouldn't dominate the fight with Kefla? I think not.
Especially that Goku and Vegeta, and I think even Frieza, it is hinted that they were stronger at this point than during the TOP. I think that all three of them did their homework, essentially.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah.
Alright, okay. Connor is next. Connor Moffat. What if another character got Super Saiyan Rose? Who do you think should get it? Vegeta. Vegeta, perfectly. Super Saiyan Rose, the blood of a royal Saiyan.
Vegeta needs to get what Vegeta really needs to get is a victory.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go watch Masako's video on why he should
why
be the one
Vegeta needs to win.
Moro.
Like that discussion did really well. Jeez.
Yeah.
Like dang.
Vegeta does need to win. He needs
does.
a victory under his belt.
And hopefully, with the manga, we are looking like it might happen. And we're saying might because we are very pessimistic here when it comes to Vegeta's track record. Like he's not had such a good winning streak since the Ginyu Force. Like
Toku Sentai.
Well, now we refer to it as Goku Sentai. After
Goku
Goku Ginyu Force say Goku. It's like Goku Sentai. Yeah. So yeah. So that's long lasting. James Hill. What if Bartok, Ine, Raditz, and Goku went to Earth? Well, if the entire family decided to go for a road trip to Earth, they would probably tear it to pieces. Or at least, at the very least, stick around for a little while, hide in the shadows, suss it out, realize that the power levels here are really, really low. And they probably would just, like, send... Like, they probably use Kakarot as bait, as a baby. And, like, you know, and then Raditz would come in with the surprise attack.
I mean, what could happen is that Bartok would just ensure, okay, is it safe here? Yeah, okay, you three stay here. You know, I will check on you from time to time. I'm going to be a space pirate. Bye.
Yeah, that's quite possible. Bardock wouldn't stick around. And
I'm going to buy some smokes. Bye.
Yeah, excuse me, I'm just gonna go buy some space milk. Bye.
Bardock is not a homebody. You know, it's like I know that a lot of people like this idea of like if Gine and Bardock both survived, or if Gine and Bardock were wished back, that they would be like they'd become this family unit with Goku and everyone else. But honestly, the only one I can really see having that familial bond to that kind of strong degree would be Gine, because she's already not a typical Saiyan. Bardock though is not a homebody. He would want to go out. He'd want to fight. He'd want to like, even if he wasn't under Frieza's control, I get the feeling that, you know, he's kind of like he's kind of like Wolverine. You know, he's good at what he does, but what he does isn't very nice.
No.
And so he would still want to go out and he'd still want to fight people. He just would be happy that he wouldn't have to do it under Frieza. Now, Goku might try to accompany him, you know, for the sake of fighting strong guys, but you wouldn't have that singular family unit on Earth living normal heroic lives that I think a lot of people kind of assume.
Nah, unfortunately not. Alright, Super Sport. What if Iron Bulma's Saiya Buster caused Giro to add a great ape form to Cell? Oh, that gives me an idea. We could bring into canon Cell X.
Oh god.
Cell X from Super Dragon Ball Heroes. Oh yeah. Basically, we make the big we give Norio Wakamoto the chance to have a big carapace. Yeah. Cell X. Yeah, that kind of thing. So, yeah, that okay. I kind of want to do that now, because hey, if you're gonna have a giant robot, you need to have something that is the Dragon Ball equivalent of Mothra.
Or you could, you know, like do his make his form in a way that would be similar to second form Hirudegarn, which is a much better design. Just saying.
I mean, to be honest, like the first form Hirudegarn, I think is the
Yeah.
best. It's like, oh
Yeah,
my God, that is
Both of them are cool.
terrifying. The
Yeah.
First form Hirudegarn, it should have just been that. You're basically fighting a giant muscular skull head. That is so cool. Like, that is so much better.
You might say that he is the bulk and the skull at the same time.
Oh God.
Oh,
Oh God.
That was a deep cut. I'm sorry for everyone who was born after 90s.
90s kids unite.
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. 90s kids, best kids. All right, okay. Hannah Rowan, if you could incorporate the concept of the Shadow Dragons into Super, how would you do it, and what changes would you make? Nuova and Sin are okay. You know what? This would be a good way of involving the Super Dragon Balls, because they've been used, like, 3 times, like, in the space of, like, maybe a couple of years. Maybe the Super Dragon Balls... Oh, we lost Sophie, but...
Yeah.
She can come back for that.
Yeah.
But basically, I would have it that the Super Dragon Balls basically are bust, and, like, you know, Whis is the one investigating. He comes up with the Black Smoke Shenron, and it's like... Xylema's revenge. So basically, it's the first Namekian's revenge. That's how I do it. Like, Zylema is basically saying, "Oh yeah, you're gonna use my Dragon Balls that much? Sick 'em, Black Smoke." So that's how I do it.
Yeah, but because the thing is that, you know, like, Super Dragon Balls are definitely not designed to be used that early as they were used in Super. So and I would make all the Shadow Dragons formidable, but I would make them, you know, like, one of the things that Mark points out about the Shadow Dragons is that they are evil for the sake of being evil, and I think they should be like the Punishers, really. And I think they should be like punishing mortals for different things. They should be those lawful neutral characters coming slowly to neutral evil, and, you know, each of them would enact different punishment on mortals to adapt to this, you know, and each of them should be formidable in a way.
Let us know if you'd like us to make that a discussion, because I think that's a very good topic. So let's make a note of Hannah's thing. It may not be for a what if, but we might make it a discussion, because I quite like the sound of that.
Yeah.
Alright, okay. Manifesto. What if 7-3 turned good? I like him personally. I think he has so much potential as a character. Also, what if Frieza or Broly fought Moro? Well, Frieza's energy would be Kaputski, and Broly, since he is continuously making ki, I feel that Moro would end up, you know, being, like, over-encumbered, or basically he could not eat as much energy as Broly's producing. So basically he could be overwhelmed. And that would have been really interesting. Like, this guy is pumping out so much ki, cannot control it, and Moro can't control it either. That would be a really interesting way of getting around it.
Unless, you know what Moro can grant. Like, I think that the way that Moro is dealing with, you know, the himself from bursting is to deal his power to his minions. So he could just empower his entire army and just deal his army with the power of Moro.
Okay.
With Broly, and drain him dry.
Ooh.
That would be. As to 7-3, you know, like, again, that would be another android-like character to turn good. I don't know, like, maybe he could be that, you know, maybe Piccolo could help, maybe androids could help him to go. Like, he could, like, the most realistic way I would see that if that after Moro Saga he was discarded on Earth, and you had that classical thing that he's somewhere hiding on Earth, not fully recovered, and, like, you know, someone innocent finds him, like a family or a child, you know, your Iron Giant / every single wounded monster lands on Earth situation and gets softened.
Okay. Just like over time.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Chrome Bison. What if Piccolo maintained his villainy, brainwashed Gohan as his disciple, and turned him against Goku? Well, I have a what if for that, and that is, what if Raditz never came to Earth? That is what happens in that what if. So if you want to check it out, you just have to search this channel, and you will have your answer there, Chrome.
That's it, until Raditz doesn't show up.
Yeah. Alright, Column. What if the reason the first incarnation of Vegeta really did diffuse because of the bad air, and fusions between two Saiyans just happened to be permanent, without any of the Supreme Kais knowing? Well, you can check out What If Vegito Stayed Fused. I've got a series about that, and actually we will have the finale of that series out on the 20th of this month. It's time to end that what if. So basically, Column, you can get your answer there. Darren, good news, I am no longer considered high bad news. Oh, well, that's great, Darren. Good to hear. It means I'm not working and we'll be missing this, so everyone keep safe and clean, but most importantly, if we all stick together, we will eat that horse.
Yeah.
Bravo, sir! That is fine
Eat that
using of
horse.
that phrase. And seriously, if you are working right now and you're putting yourself at risk for us all, really, thank you. And very shortly, we will have the clap for our carers thing coming out very soon, so don't worry, stay tuned for that. Alright, Sans Ventura. If Frieza was to go full-on Lex Luthor Legion of Doom on Goku and the Z-Fighters and had the ability to recruit any past villain, who would he recruit? What's your evil Z-Fighters dream team? Like, who... If Frieza could resurrect anybody, who would he resurrect?
Cell, for sure.
Yeah.
They have that romance/bromance going on.
Oh, yes, of course.
I could see him also possibly resurrecting his father, because he probably has a degree of ego about him. And knowing that he was able to get as powerful as he did once he actually started training, Frieza would probably resurrect his father for the sake of being like, Daddy, if we both train, we can destroy those filthy monkeys for once and for all.
Oh, yes.
But, so I think his dream team would probably consist of King Cold, and maybe if he's familiar enough with Cell, I would say he might consider Cell if he kind of looks into the history of the people that have fought against Goku and the other Z fighters and held their own, but later lost. Dream team would probably be Frieza. Let's see, King Cold, Cell. You can't really resurrect Majin Buu because A, Mr. Buu's still alive, and B, he's already been reincarnated into Oob by Dragon Ball Super's time.
Same with King Piccolo, but let's assume that you can recreate their personalities, you know? Let's assume for the sake of the argument.
I don't know if he would think to resurrect Majin Buu because he fears Majin Buu because of what his father said about the two people he should never think to fight, being Beerus and Majin Buu. I don't think he'd like having such a wild card in his team as like Kid Buu would be, you know, or Super Buu or whatever he came back as. Honestly, I think Frieza might waste the wish on trying to have more loyal minions than necessarily powerful ones.
Yes.
Like, he'd bring back his father, because his father has power potential. And he would bring back Cell because he knows that, A, Cell has his genetics in him. You know, he would know by this point, you know, let's assume that he knows Cell has his genetics in him. That he nearly defeated the Z fighters and blew up the Earth. So he'd bring King Cold back, he'd bring Cell back, but I think he'd probably just bring back loyal people beyond that. You know, maybe like the Ginyu Force, Zarbon, Dodoria, and then he'd just be like, I'm going to put you all through the training from hell.
You know who he might bring up as well? Like, I agree with your person. I would add Dr. Giro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
As a brain, as a scientist.
Yeah, I could maybe see that, but my biggest kind of factor on the wishy-washiness of doing something like that would simply just be, we all know that how big Frieza's ego is, and we all know that he's not one to suffer people that he thinks would betray him, you know.
Yeah.
So even bringing back Cell is a bit of a risk, but bringing back Dr. Gero, like, you can almost bet your butt he would not be super thrilled on the thought of bringing in this guy who would probably do his best to betray him.
Oh,
just as, like in a certain what if we have written on the channel.
Ah, yes.
What a strange coincidence.
Yes,
Wink,
of
wink.
course. Go and check out that what if. Nick Wolf says, Gine to Kakarot. Bye, son. Vaporized by Cell. No! No! Oops. Oh, jeez. Well, I can tell you that I've got an idea. And it was through one person's comment that gave me the idea. And I think will actually be a very good resolution for all concerned. And it's not your hackneyed, typical, predictable thing. But yeah. I just want people to be thinking right now, like the JonTron going... that old JonTron reacts. Alright. Paparacha. When did you start? What did you start? What if... no, I think it was
46 minutes ago?
Yeah, pretty much it. What if Vampa replaced fake Namek? Oh, man. Okay. Okay, that's curious. So basically...
Bulma Broly.
Bulma Broly.
Yeah.
I mean, you know that she would think that he was hot. I mean,
especially since they, yeah, of course. And at that time, she'd say, "Wow, those things are kind of hot."
So let's assume. I think I know how this would go.
Go on.
They get to Vampa. They think they're stuck. They have to make some repairs to the ship, something like that. They get cornered by those spider-like creatures, right? And they're getting a bit overwhelmed. Broly and Paragus show up, or even Paragus may have even already been there because he might have seen the ship coming, tried to make contact with them. Calls for Broly. Broly comes in, saves the day, like in DB Super. And they wind up accompanying them to Namek, and of course, like, Krillin, Bulma, they're a little bit iffy on it because oh, they're Saiyans, we know what Saiyans are like, but at the same time, like, they look at Broly and they're like, I could see Krillin or even Gohan saying, like, nah, I like the cut of this guy's jib. Like, I think that this guy's probably a good guy. He's just really kind of scary at times.
Also,
so they take him to Namek.
One little thing, and Vegeta may come up in the conversation, so they might connect over mutual hatred for Vegeta.
Well, and that's the thing is they get to Namek, and of course Paragus would be single-mindedly like he'd want to kill Vegeta, but once he realized Frieza was there, we know that Paragus is still loyal to the Frieza Force, and he's one of the people who doesn't know that Frieza was responsible for the destruction of Planet Vegeta. So I think Paragus would attempt to turn on the group and try to use Broly to do it. But I think what would wind up happening is Broly would lose control, and it would ultimately take the combined efforts of the team and stuff like that in order to free him from Paragus's control, maybe even using the Dragon Balls. But ultimately it would result in Broly basically dominating on the planet, maybe even harming some innocents. Paragus would probably still die. Broly might even still become a Super Saiyan, depending on the circumstances. But it would be a very, very tricky scenario to write in. But I could see it maybe working out, and I could see Bulma and Broly maybe being a thing. But Vegeta would be screwed. He would definitely be screwed.
Or not screwed in this situation.
Oh.
All right. Craig Twitchell. What if Dr. Hero turns some of Goku's friends into androids to get revenge on Goku? We've had this a few times, actually. And I think we've all categorically said that it would be Tenshinhan and Yamcha. Yamcha especially. Like, they'd be kidnapped, Jiro would be seizing upon their, their inadequacy or their feeling of inferiority. And they are close to Goku. So who better than to basically, exploit? So you'd have Android 17 and 18 being Tenshinhan and Yamcha. So you just have to just kind of going Yamcha, come on guys, it's me, and stuff like that. It's like, sorry little guy, I found my pack.
Oh God.
It seems little guy that the cat he blasts war has eaten his last meal.
The cat will no longer love his food. Oh no. No.
That kind of Manifesto.
Oh,
I wish to do a commission artwork for Gohan from What If Goku Married Bulma What If. What would his overall look be for clothes as a warrior? And would he be like a balance of both his human and Saiyan heritage? Yes, for the heritage. He'd have the lavender hair from that with blue eyes. He'd probably still be wearing Goku's gi because he very looks up to his father. Very much that kind of stuff. So, it's quite simple, really. Nick Wolf, it's my birthday today. Hey, awesome.
Hey,
Happy birthday,
happy
Nick.
birthday.
Alright. What if then Goku's perfect cell were also femme? Just think it'd be novel to have a female big bad that's not trashy fancy. Oh, you know what? My heart really wants to do that. My heart really wants to do
Do
that.
it.
Wait, what was the question? It was cutting out on my
Basically,
end a little
what if in the female Goku's world, perfect cell is female? I'm like,
bit. I would like that because
I
yeah.
wanna do that now. I really want to do that. That's a really good idea.
I like that.
Haverok, make a note of this.
Maybe that'll inspire you to write some more parts for Fem Goku.
Oh, come on, it wasn't that long ago.
No, but I've been seeing plenty of comments saying "Win Fem Goku."
Okay, I will say. Okay, we'll come back to it in May. We'll come back to it in May.
I don't think I need to make a note on that. Like, I think it's engraved in our minds right now.
Just please make a note of it anyway, because.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think Perfect Cell would be a perfect One-sama. Perfect Cell with a ara that kind of stuff.
A combination between One-sama and Ojo, because like his Frieza genetics would almost, well, I guess her in this instance, if it was Femcell's Frieza genetics would almost guarantee like the Ojo laugh and stuff like that. Like,
but you have to have the ara pretty much as well. And can you imagine she'd be in semi-perfect death by snoo, that kind of thing, just an Amazonian semi-perfect cell. Oh my god, I love this. It's like, this is great.
This is canon, guys. This is canon now.
You'd have this kind of like you'd have this like Kappa like imperfect cell, like a wisp, that kind of thing. Then you'd have an Amazonian brute, and then you'd have an Ojo-sama for perfect cell.
In my opinion, like a female perfect cell is basically Bayonetta.
Oh god, yes. Oh yeah, Bayonetta, the bad witch who can punch gods in the face. Basically, the gods are going, and you dare come to oof, and you go, oh, shut up. It's just like, Bayonetta is so cool. Okay, we're getting distracted now. Let's keep going.
but yeah,
Nick?
having a female villain that's not trashy fan service. Now, again, see, there's the difference. There's a difference between just having like an attractive villain or a villain who's a villainess who's empowering.
Oh, of course.
Versus having a trashy fan service.
But
character.
at the same time, Sophie, you forget, Cell is already attractive. Yeah, Cell's already attractive as a dude. So it's like, there you
Handsome
go.
face. The perfect jawline.
That handsome face really makes my stupid face happy. I love that Android 16. His stupid face. All right, okay.
His face is pretty stupid.
All right, Nick. Okay, we'll make a note of that. Seriously. Okay. Well, a legend was born here. We thought Good Boy 21 was the best we could do with Cell. Okay, we might be wrong. We might have a challenger.
I want to make a crossover of those two someday.
Maybe. Okay. All right. Manifesto. Oh, no, we've done that. That was a backlog thing. Mean Crank. What if the nameless Namekian came to Earth with several other Namekian children? Would they be differing sets of Dragon Balls, like Dragon Marbles? I probably think there'd be only one set of Dragon Balls, just to kind of like, just for kind of just ease of use, and in case it fell into the wrong hands with humans and stuff like that, they could easily keep them in check. And also, if you got multiple sets of Dragon Balls, it's like, yeah, I got all seven Dragon Balls. Yeah, but from the same set. Aw, man. It's like, you do all that, and you don't, and you spend coaching. At last, it took me 50 years to gather these Dragon Balls. And then the dragon comes out. Oh, sorry, bro. You got your Dragon Balls mixed up. There's like 5 different sets around. Yeah, you better get back on that.
This just makes me think of what if the Dragon Balls functioned like loot boxes, and you only got the wish in like a teeny tiny percentage chance, but other times you summon the dragon and he just gives you sprays.
Or if you make the wish, but you already had that wish, you already asked for that wish.
Yeah.
So you get the wish, but you get the wish again.
But you get the dragon points.
Yeah. What if the Dragon Balls were made by EA?
Oh god.
Alright, what if Arale was on Namek during Frieza Saga, and that was from Paparacha? Again, anything to do with Arale would be game breaking. Like, Frieza would basically... He was already aghast with Goku's behavior. Can you imagine him with Arale?
He would get mentally broken by Arale.
Oh, yeah, no, basically, he would just be, nope, I'm done. You people can have these pesky Dragon Balls. I just want to be away from that accursed child. She breaks all logic. You know what, Frieza? You and I actually agree with something for once. So, there you go. A sense of connection between Frieza and Vegeta. Who would have thunk it? Okay, Alpha 165. What if Android 21 was at the Tournament of Power instead of Frieza? Okay, so if you had Android 21, I would presume it would be the good Android 21. She would be quite powerful. She would certainly be not a horn dog. She would actually be quite... There'd be that tension between her and 18. But I think ultimately this would be the situation for them to actually kind of, connect, as well as with 17. Like, actually getting to know these two, in that sense. I think that's the only way I would ever want to do it.
And if you wanted to do 21, like, one of the big things that I've always considered as far as, like, if you were going to rewrite 21's character is don't waste the human design. One of the problems that I had with fighters as far as how they handled 21 is that while there are some issues that I take with her core design as well, the core design still isn't that bad, and it's another like scientific, intelligent character, that sort of thing. You've got this very very interesting look going on, and then they waste that by making her transform into what is essentially just the equivalent of a sexy gender flipped boo.
I did admit when I found out that was actually a thing, I was like, what, really? What?
Yeah, it wastes the core design. So if I was going to rewrite her, I would keep the core design. I wouldn't incorporate any of the nonsense with the Majin stuff. Yeah. And, tone down the more trashy aspects of how the narrative frames her, how her character is written and directed, focus more on the connection aspect, the link between the androids, the link between her and Jiro, and 16 especially. Like, is she 16's mother? Is she a recreation of 16's mother? Or rather, the person who 16 was based on's mother. It's a complex thing, but give it depth, give it oomph and emphasis. And it's
make her a mother figure for the androids, really.
All right.
That would
Okay.
be- that
Well,
would
with
be
that,
interesting.
we got to do our 8 o'clock. It's time for the clap for our carers, everyone. So if you are working in the health profession or if you are a key worker, thank you so much for all of the work that you've done. And just let this clap be heard across all of the internet waves. And you are doing us a really good service, and we really appreciate your really hard work. And it means that we can all carry on and be total geeks in good health. And I hope that you are all in good health. And I would like to also have this as our point that the super chats are now closed. So thank you very much for all of the all your contributions. They really do help the channel. And after this, all I can say is that there's no real guarantee that we can actually get through them, but we will do our best. So please do hold off on the super chats if you can. But if you are really burning to do a what if, you really absolutely cannot afford to, or if you cannot get to another live stream, then, you know, just, you know, do. But try and hold on for them for now, okay? Because
we read them. You guys tweet at us. You write at Reddit. We read everything.
But yeah, if you're absolutely desperate, then we will look into it. Okay. All right. Because we're not even a third of the way through. Like, jeez.
Yeah.
You guys have been really generous tonight. Like, really, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. It's super appreciated, and it helps the channel a lot. And we know that it's super helpful.
Absolutely. Okay, Paparazzi. What if the Power Brothers were in the Tournament of Power? You know what? Actually, their power will be really useful. Like, the power of dance. Think about it.
Yeah.
Because if they could control people through dance, the only way is that. They would have to find some way of getting around the rule of no outside equipment, because they got their boombox.
They can beatbox.
If Thanos is anything to go by, from the rap battle, just just have that, that kind of stuff. You can just have that, or think about it. They go digital. They got a Bluetooth speaker built into their own armor. That's what they do. And honestly, they could control people to fall off the arena, and I think that they would do really well against Universe 10, because they're all a bunch of meatheads.
Yeah, but they would have a rivalry and a serious competition from Universe 2.
That is
Can I make a small admission about Para Brothers?
Go on.
I actually don't hate them.
I don't hate them either. I really don't hate them either.
I actually find them quite funny and one of the small highlights of GT.
To be honest, it's like, you think the power. It's like, how do you get round these big dragon team members who are really strong? Oh, you can control them through dance. And it's like, okay, that is goofy as hell, but it's actually kind of different.
I don't hate the concept of getting around the fighting aspect with a unique skill. I'm not a fan of the design or the execution.
Yeah.
Again,
I feel
that's a GT common thing.
It's definitely it's a truth that kind of goes through a lot of Dragon Ball, both in GT and in Super even, where they have an intriguing idea, but they don't quite hit the mark with the execution. But I did like that GT tried to do something a little different. It's like when the battles have already long since devolved into just watch these two people fly around, zip
Beam
around,
struggle.
do their punches and kicks and beam struggles and all that other kind of stuff. Having people come up with new techniques and actually bringing back that sort of like, this is a special move that isn't fighting oriented, or this is a special move that is spiritual in origin or magical in origin. That is always a plus.
Absolutely. Okay, well that's fair enough. Hey, Recon. Hey guys, what if Golden Uzaru appeared in DragonBallZ? To be honest, this would have been not a bad place to put it, in the fact that it would have kept Uzaru relevant. If you had this in the Boo Saga, this would have been a bit of a twist. It may not have actually gotten that far, I mean, in terms of strength, but, 100 times and stuff like that, that could throw people for a loop. If you put Golden Uzaru Vegeta against Kid Buu, two chaotic forces together, that would be an epic fight.
Oh no, I wouldn't give it to Vegeta or even Goku. I would give it to Goten.
Oh my god. Oh, what? Oh, man. That would be nuts. Like, the quiet one. It's always the quiet ones. Oh my god.
You want to know a secret? Secret, Mr. Vegeta. I am always happy.
And then just Vegeta's like,
I don't know whether to be impressed or horrified right now.
But I'm glad that you're my son's friend.
But I'm glad. All I can say is I'm glad I'm on your side.
seriously, that would be a twist. Manifesto. Off topic. Narusaku forever should have been canon. Oh yes, of course. Everyone wanted it, but I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry.
No,
I was a Hinata
no.
fan growing up. I really was, so I'm happy for her.
Yeah, see, I'm the same way. Is my problem, just like what we've mentioned before about GT and Super in Dragon Ball, is it all came down to execution. Kishimoto executed his story so badly from part 2 all the way through to the end of the series that even Naruhina fans couldn't be satisfied with how they ended up together. And if you're gonna say Narusaku, look, I appreciate you, and I think and I respect your choice and your belief, but I was always a Naruhina fangirl, and I'm always going. And if it couldn't be Naruhina, I wanted it to be something really off the wall, like Naru Ino.
Oh, that would have been a bit of a twist, certainly. Alright. Okay. Let's see. Alright. Sorry if there was a little bit of a blip in the quality, but it should be okay. It should be relatively solid now. Okay. But man, I'm kind of glad I'm out of the Naruto loop. I'll get back to it eventually.
Oh yeah.
I'll get back to it eventually.
You mean Boruto's dad?
Oh yeah, Bort's dad. Okay, Bort's dad. Go. Okay, I hear you now.
God.
All right. Okay. Speaks too soon. Oh, we got a new one. What if Future Trunks never returned to the past? What if we never saw him again after he delivered the heart medicine and warning? Well, we'd have had no means. Well, it would have been interesting who would have trained with Vegeta. He probably would have trained on his own though.
Yeah.
You probably, honestly, it would have been like, I don't know actually. You could have gotten around the story and have it stay relatively similar, but you wouldn't have had the drama with like, you know, Vegeta and that kind of stuff, which was really, really compelling. So you wouldn't have had that. So that
The
is
whole
something
character development of Vegeta. Nope.
No. So unfortunately, that I have to play the sound for the first time. So I think that would be the case. All right. Okay, Paparazzi. What if the Tournament of Power used a bracket system, not free-for-all? Oh my god, it would take forever. It would take forever, that's for sure. And how would you would just have to decide through that. And with these kind of tournaments, you need to have a side story going on. What would be the side story?
Adventures of Goten, Trunks, and Maron, Poacher's Island.
No. What I would do, I would have some kind of intrigue, like there was supposed to be, about the GP's true intentions. You need to have some kind of corruption going on in here that the Zenos are completely unawares of. And you need to
Poacher Island. Poacher Island.
Okay, maybe that too.
Poacher Island.
Okay, maybe that
Poacher
too.
Island.
All right, okay, all right. You're getting that all right, Happy?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Fuji Masaki. Hey guys, hope everyone is doing well. We are, thank you. What if they switched Mystic Trunks and Super Saiyan Rage Gohan? So, if basically we had Ultimate Trunks and Super Saiyan Rage Gohan. If we had Super Saiyan Rage Gohan, that would have been really interesting, because he'd have wailed on Boo. Like, in Super Saiyan Rage, you don't get cocky and confident, you just get purely angry. He probably would have eviscerated Super Boo, actually.
Yeah, it's a cold fury.
Yeah.
You know? It's called focused fury.
Yeah, no, so actually, I think Gohan would have actually gotten the win against Boo. So, in that situation...
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think he would have actually done it. And as for Ultimate Trunks, I think maybe the same. Because I think ultimately, yeah, Trunks would be cocky, that's for sure. But Goku Black would be, you think Goku Black would be able to counter that. But once we see that Goku Black being faced up with resistance, he quickly crumbles. Like, quickly. Like,
Yeah.
a lot. So, I think he would end up crumbling really quickly. And Zamasu would be the same thing. They wouldn't have an answer to this, and they would have to resort to fuse Zamasu. Then that would do the deed. But I wouldn't play the sound because they could then counter it eventually. But they would be able to, they'd be able to sort out fuse Zamasu by the time the people came back. But in terms of like, they'd have to regroup after all of that. All right, okay. Recon. What if Tarball wasn't irrelevant? Oh, I would love that. We'd have someone called Kaba. But basically, we'd have to have some way of like Vegeta saying, look, you need to train up. Any brother of mine cannot be this weak. I need to train you. And then basically he thinks that, but then Tarball kind of shows him, actually, I kind of like my life the way it is. So, you know, don't worry about me. But, you know, you need to have some kind of thing that makes it slightly less schmaltzy.
Yeah, like we've been asked that a few times before. So, for example, we thought about the way of, you know, making him a more of a tech guy, you know, being a radio guy, as a supporting in other way than fighting, you know.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. Okay, Craig Twitchell. You know, because of how you wrote it, you could write in the what if Cell turned good into the what if into the Gine went to Earth what if. So the Gine and Cell turn good? I don't initially see that. What do you think, Hav?
I don't know. Like,
I think it's too early to say because we're not quite at that point in Gine yet.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think once we get to that, because I feel like after the post Cell arc is pretty much where I'll wrap the Gine thing up. I think. Yeah. Not sure, but I think so. Apologetic Funyarimpa. What if Krillin survived Tambourine?
The Funyarimpa. You gotta respect the Funyarimpa.
Funyarimpa.
It's from 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors.
Oh, okay. Right.
Apologize to the Funyarimpa.
I'm sorry, Funyarimpa. But yeah, no, Red Dragon. We know what we were talking about with that, but it's just I haven't got to that point with Gine, so I think that the jury's out on that one. But if Krillin survived Tambourine, I think Goku would still be angry, and I think the Dragon Ball would still be taken. But I think Goku would still act more rationally, and I think someone would go with him. So I think he would have backup. So maybe Ten Shinhan would go with him. So I think, you know, you'd have like a 2v1 with King Piccolo. Might be more of a challenge, but I think Piccolo would still win. But at least there'd be some kind of resistance.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Nick Wolf. What if the what ifs involving Goku Black followed manga canon? Goku accidentally grabbing a girly coupon is more believable, relatable, and funny than nothing. Oh god, is that what happened? He, instead of forgetting the talisman, he picked up a... Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, I mean, it ultimately wouldn't have changed things as too much in the long run, but I mean, it's definitely a better explanation than just I forgot it.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, that would have been... Yeah, I wouldn't be mad about that in that sense. So I'd be like, okay. I'd just be like, okay, all right. I'd accept it, but not very reluctantly. Instead of just being like, instead of just going, Ree! just reeing over that. All right, Recon. What if Trunks and Goten aged? Right? I mean, it should happen because
seriously,
they're like 12 and 11. Oh, no, 13 and 12. Now, so they should...
they're supposed to be the age that future Trunks is in the History of Trunks special.
Yeah, I mean that's what you got. So that's exactly it.
Ugh. It makes me so frustrated at Dragon Ball
Yeah.
Super. Stop drawing them like they're freaking 6-year-olds.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Recon, you've taken the words right out of my mouth. Seriously. Oh. Okay. Master Riku, what if Gohan had been born as with ginger hair? You know, since he's half Saiyan.
I'm sorry, that's a new one.
He'd be exactly the same
Well-
because gingers have souls. And to be honest,
Yes.
redheads are to be preserved and they are precious. Seriously?
Yes.
If there is anything to... Seriously, I was once asked at a convention, at a 21 plus panel in the Team 4-star thing. I was asked, what the things do you like? And I was like, I don't know. Redheads? I don't know. I'm like, that's all I could think of. And everyone, and like, people were just like, aww. I'm like, don't aw me at a 21 plus panel. It's actually really cool, actually, because the 21 plus panel, because you get to have drinks. You can have a cocktail
Oh God.
in a movie
I would
theater.
make an ass of myself if I could drink.
It was in a local movie theater. You could have alcoholic drinks, and it was really relaxed. That was really cool. And it was just like, but honestly, I don't think anything would be different because people with ginger hair, they deserve my respect. All right, Paparacha. What if rage boosts were a human hybrid trait? I think that's what they are, in a way. I think that is what they are. They tend to be.
I think the question is like is asking about it as like a more direct thing, like it's a guarantee of the genetics. Like
okay, so basically that
rage boosts. So that it wouldn't just be that we see it with just Gohan,
It would be with
so
Goten
that
and
instead
Trunks.
Goten, and we would be seeing Trunks do it. We might even see it happen with Pan or Bulma.
Maybe to a
not
lesser
Bulma, sorry, Bula.
Maybe to a lesser extent with those two, since there is a bit more dialed down, but they would still show traces of it. So
Berserker Pan Tantrum.
oh man.
Imagine baby Pan in a Berserker form.
Oof. Oh jeez.
You can thank me for the mental image.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. That would be pretty epic.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, next up is Firethorn. What if King Cold or Namek instead of Frieza? He probably would actually be much stronger. He wouldn't need to go up to full power. Like, him in his final form would probably be a really worthy opponent to Super Saiyan Goku. So, again, you'd have to find some kind of way of outthinking him. And I think King Cold's smarter than Frieza.
Yeah.
But it would be a lot more of a cerebral battle than with Frieza. Like, you know, I'm pretty sure that King Cold never trained, but I feel like he's less of a brute than Frieza when he's angry.
Yeah, I think what he would do would he kill Goku during the conversation, similar to the whole show me your sword thing, like
Yeah.
oh, you're from Earth. Tell me about this ER planet. Oh, it has a blue sky, and suddenly he has a hand in his chest, or something.
Yeah, he would outwit his opponent, certainly.
Yeah.
Podo, what if Hercule trained like Saitama? Well, then he'd become Saitama, but he would have to come up to deal with the fact that he'd lose his hair. And can you imagine Hercule with no hair?
So, I feel like a piece of my soul is missing from this earth.
He already is losing hair in GT.
Like, no, but it's like, was this power truly worth it for me to lose my heavenly hair? Is it? Am I paying the ultimate price for the ultimate power?
Instead of taking on the stage name Hercule, he'd have wound up with the stage name the Caped Baldy.
Oh.
And he would recruit Tien and Krillin to his bold beginnings.
Bold beginnings. Yeah. Alright, James Hill. What if Nail beat Frieza? Okay. I don't think he could actually fully, kill Frieza. But let's just say he was able to incapacitate First Form Frieza and he had to kind of, regroup and retreat. I feel like, ultimately, I think they would still resort to fusing with Piccolo, but I feel like Nail would be holding more cards. And I think we would have an actual fusion. Like, it would be a completely new Namekian. Like, a combination of Nail and Piccolo instead of just being Piccolo with boosted Nail powers.
Pale or Nico.
Nickel. So it's a nickel is a type of metal. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that kind of thing.
Hey, Nico, my cousin. Sorry.
Let's go bowling.
How about you take me bowling?
Oh. Nick Wolf. Inspired by the podcast Kame House Party, what if Raditz opened an ice cream parlor? Specialties would be the double sundae and the mocha hamehameha.
Believe me, us or not, but like I did that joke years ago, and the double Sunday joke is going to be used in an actual R&R episode.
Yes.
I won't tell anymore, but it is a joke that I'm very proud of.
Yeah, of course. We will...
And I copyrighted it back when we started writing R&R. So.
Yeah, so do watch this space, Nick. Mr. Leon, what if Goku was wished to be a kid again before meeting Beerus? How would this affect Super? It would depend on the Dragon Balls. If it wasn't the Black Star Dragon Balls, it was just regular Dragon Balls, I would probably say that it would be a neat little interlude, Goku rediscovering his youth. But I feel like at the same time, he would have to have some kind of thing of like accepting his adulthood. And then by the time he to be wishing himself back to adult, it actually gives him a sense of perspective. Like, it actually be a way of like organically resetting his stupidity in Super. Like, he basically lost perspective on how old he was. Like a midlife crisis. Like a midlife crisis he was having, yeah.
Listen, that just occurred to me that while we have things like artificial intelligence, Goku had artificial stupidity in Super.
Like, it was like he had like dumb armor or something. Alright, Nick Wolf again. Also inspired by Kame House Party. What if Goku is anti-vax? Think about it. He uses holistic meds from the woods and hates getting needles from the doctor. Oh man. Oh jeez.
Oh man, no.
I don't think Goku being anti-vaxxed would matter, because I can guarantee you this much: Chi-Chi would definitely be up. Yeah, like she would overrule him, and Chi-Chi's not gonna be an anti-vaxxer. She, especially since she wants her child to be up to par with all the modern stuff, to be a scientist, all these other things. Like if she thought like anti-vax was a thing, I don't think she'd be pushing for her boy to become like a doctor or a scientist.
Yeah, and Gohan would be able to persuade Goku in.
Yeah, also I've noticed that those lot in real life actually gone very quiet lately. They've been very quiet lately. That's all I'll say. Okay. Yeah. Moving on.
Topical.
It's like, but that's not why I'm here. Moving on. Alright, Paparacha. What if Shin lost an earring and accidentally fused with Zamasu? Oh man. You know what? This is the kind of thing I think Shin would do. Like, you know, for some reason, like...
leaks! Their Potara... Oh, sorry, this is mine. Yeah, no problem, this is mine. Yeah, okay, like, where were we? Oh, yeah, you are threatening to kill my friends. Oh, thank you, okay, yeah, like, is it yours? Yeah, I don't think we mixed them up, you know? We would have...
Well, here's the thing, is that Kai earrings apparently behave like Potara within a certain radius. Because, you know, like, Kibito, all he had to do was remove one of his earrings when Shin removed one of his earrings, and then all of a sudden it was like a magnetism, right? So think like, what winds up happening is Shin has to get in close to Zamasu. But for whatever reason, Shin gets in close to Zamasu, and he loses the earring on the right ear, or the wrong ear, I guess, whichever one it would be, right? He loses the earring, and then him and Zamasu actually fuse. Now, the hilarity of this is that the fusion would almost certainly result in a person who was going to be very mentally disturbed, because you'd have two very, very different minds combating one another, right? But what's more is I think the Z fighters would have gotten lucky in this regard, because we all know how incompetent Shin is, and him becoming part of Zamasu would actually make him a
Yeah.
It would actually make him useful. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't want to destroy immortals anymore. I kinda don't like them. But that's not all. Nothing personal, really.
Nothing personnel, kids. All right, Steve does. What if Nam defeated Tien Shinhan at the preliminaries of the 22nd World Martial Arts Tournament? You know what? I think if he actually did defeat Tien Shinhan, Nam would be more relevant in the story. Like, he'd have that initial spark of being impressing Goku. So I think he would actually you'd see him more often. And actually, I think he would end up seeing him train with Goku sometimes. Like, once he'd been able to sort out the problem in his village. So, he'd be like, I need to take care of my people first. Then I will come and train with you. So, that could be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Alright, Nick Wolf. Following in his son's footsteps, what if Bartok came to Earth and decided to open up a diner? It would be called Doc's Bar and Grill. Oh my god. Oh. Ow. I'm playing the sound because that hurt. I mean, he'd have a very good stock from the planet meat. Yeah, for the grill. Bar Doc. The bar of Doc.
Yeah, and maybe you will tell, and before, we got this, like, maybe, maybe, Gine would like to become a doctor on Earth and, take on fertility problems and become gynecologist.
Oh God! No! Haverok! Bad Haverok! Get the spray bottle, Moss. Bad Haverok!
I did it before somebody will make this fun. I did it to save us from this.
But then again, with Gine, she could then take her findings down to the Raditology lab.
Oh no! No! Stop it! No more of these puns!
Okay, alright. Alright, okay. Alpha's next. What if Goku had no morals? He kind of doesn't have morals already. Like, he has very minimal ones that he remembers from Gohan. But if he had no morals at all, I mean, basically you'd have, the fish out of water story that you see all the time. So, yeah, I think it would be quite simplistic in that way. Mr. Sensational. What if Zamasu turned good? We'll go and see what if Zamasu did nothing wrong, the what if? That will pretty much answer your question there. And it also has the name What If Zamasu liked Civ 5 or Civ 6. He liked Sid Meier's games. Nick Wolf again. What if the Ultra Divine Water took in that which made it stronger, i.e. those who drank it after Goku and lived, developed artificial Zenkai potential? Okay. So basically, if afterwards, it actually granted people, for some reason, when Goku had it, it activated the Ultra Divine Water in some way, and actually kind of absorbed some of the Zenkai potential. So, Goku was the first to drink it in centuries and live, so therefore it had an impact on the water. Maybe, for example, the Ultra Divine Water, for those people who survive, it encapsulates part of that fighter's, roster of their background. It kind of, because it makes it even more divine and ultra, in terms of power. So basically, yeah, I think it could easily be like that. But if it did like that, and eventually if someone else drank the divine water, they could potentially have the Zenkai, even if it's just temporary, like they do it a couple of times. Red Dragon Force. What if Galactic Patrol sent Jarko to recruit all of the Z fighters after learning of Frieza's defeat at the hands of Goku on Namek? I would basically just say that if they did, it would be a bit of a romp in that sense. And And I think they'd have to find some way of convincing Vegeta. And that kind of stuff. But it could be...
I mean,
it'd be a fun little interlude at the time.
Yeah, I think at this point, like, they would consider Vegeta as an ally, you know? But, like, yeah, like to have those little space adventures, like, they kind of did it now, and I think that, you know, like, you could get some storyline gains for some of the quote-unquote weaker characters with the Galactic Patrol story arc.
Yeah.
Realistically.
Mm. Yeah, I think so. Alright, okay. Nick Wolf again. You think Saiyan babies are born in pods because if they were born naturally, Saiyan moms would exploit Zenkai and overthrow King Vegeta or cold? I don't think it works like that. I think with the nursing capsules, they were there mainly for convenience. Like, because if, you know, with childbirth, that would basically take a potential Saiyan warrior out of the battlefield. So, to have the pods, that means that you could just, like, in vitro fertilize, have the pod, and then that female Saiyan could be used for everything and not inconvenienced in the eyes of the Frieza Force and the Saiyans.
Or even extract the body and move it there.
Exactly. So, yeah, but I imagine, like, at the time, probably, like, in the primitive Saiyan time, they probably did, and they probably did get, like, a maybe minute Zenkai, if, you know, but again, due to hygiene, I imagine a lot of them would die in childbirth, in that sense. Yep. It depends. We don't know much about that time. Okay, Recon. What if Boo also absorbed the North and West Supreme Kai? Well, if he did, then basically you'd have a really strong Kai. Probably a very well-rounded one, though. But
honestly, if absorbing the Grand Supreme Kai had as much of an effect on his personality as it did, and I think that what you'd wind up with if he absorbed all of the Supreme Kais, you know, or most of them, you'd probably wind up with a character who wasn't nearly so evil. In point of fact, he would probably just be like almost a deity in and of himself, like a god of destruction level Kai, almost.
Yeah, I mean, he would be like way broken in terms of power. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Master Riku.
But I think his personality wouldn't be nearly so villainous if he'd have absorbed all of those Supreme Kais.
True.
Yeah.
Alright, Master Riku, what if the Keyblade wielders entered the world of Dragon Ball? Well, we need more characters with weapons. That would be kind of interesting. And all the different Keyblades and stuff like that. Admittedly, I don't know much about Kingdom Hearts. I really need to catch up on that.
I would say that would make two overcomplicated lores even more complicated.
Yeah, and some anime things do get a bit overcomplicated in some ways. But, yeah, we'll have a think about that. But I imagine probably it would be interesting to have weapons in there. But, you know, we would have that kind of... We would have somewhat kind of thing. But again, you have Goku saying, "Can you imagine if the light will beat the darkness?"
No, I believe the darkness will beat the light.
That kind of thing. You'd have a Pro ZD sketch in Dragon Ball, essentially.
Yeah, but like, try to imagine, you know, Donald as Krillin and Goku as Tien.
True.
That mental image.
And Red Dragon Force, yeah, it would introduce magic into DBZ differently. That is true. That is very fair. And we always could do with more magic in Dragon Ball. Mr. Leon, what if we had an alignment swap? Villains became good, vice versa. Well, if they had an alignment swap, you basically have... you'd have Frieza as a neutral good guy. Like, for its very start.
President Frieza.
President Frieza, pretty much. You'd have, like, him as that. You'd probably have Goku as, like, just another mercenary and that stuff. Like, he was a good baby, but a bump on the noggin turned into an evil little ragamuffin. And that kind of stuff. But again, you'd have Saiyans as a noble race, and then Kaba and Caulifla and Kale, they'd all be evil. Like, in Universe 6. Yeah. So that kind of stuff. It'd be interesting, but it'd be so numerous in that regard. But it would definitely have President Frieza. Okay. Rufael, what if Vegeta, disappointed at Trunks, trains Bulla? So basically, when Vegeta... okay, so if present Trunks decides that is disappointed by Trunks' performance, and when Bulla is strong enough, then, you know, he decides to be very careful and train her, like the basics at first. But then eventually sees how Pan goes Super Saiyan, and then it becomes a competition. Like, my little girl is going to be the strongest little girl in the universe! Like, just daddy pride? That kind of thing. Like, that kind of thing. There'd be some kind of competition. But again, you would then have Vegeta turning into a pushy parent. And that's a little bit of an Okay, Craig Twitchell. Because, of course, what if Dr. Giro turned good? Oh, because, of course, what if Dr. Giro turned good? Well, in a way, I think he would turn good once he actually beat Kakarot. Once he beat Goku, he would then basically focus his thing on, you know, bettering humanity. That was one of his main goals.
I mean,
perhaps in his own way.
I mean, if you consider kidnapping orphans as a good thing, then
I know,
yeah,
but you know that wouldn't. But that would get out eventually.
But he's a good guy. But he's not a good guy, and he has a.
Look at all the charities. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah, and he's got such a big beard and moustache. He looks like Dr. Light. You know, he's got to be a good guy, right? So that kind of stuff. Paparazzi.
One moment before we do this next one. Pack plays Roblox. Yes, I am Sophie B. Powerhouse in the chat. Super chat submissions are currently closed, guys. Please try to respect that. And also, your particular question has been asked in previous streams, so if you're interested in seeing that particular question answered, you might want to go ahead and check out some of our past roundtables.
All right, that's very succinct. Yeah. All right, Paparazzi. Okay. What if Goku and Chi-Chi had a daughter a year after Boo? I think you probably have with the third kid. Chi-Chi may be, like... You'd think that she'd be more relaxed with the third kid, but I think she'd be more guarded with this kid more than ever. Like, you know, this is my first chance to have a baby girl. You are not going to touch her, Goku. Like, stuff like that.
The joke would be, that she would be the one wanting to fight the most.
Like, she's the most gung-ho out of all of them.
Yeah.
So there you go. That would be the joke. Nick Wolf, how'd you write an abridged Gine? I imagine she's either a hippie like Homer Simpson's mom, or a mom that lives vicariously through their kid. Oh, I think she'd actually be quite chill. She'd be quite relaxed for a Saiyan. You know, in that kind of sense. But also, you'd have to have, like, she's, like, an overachiever or something like that. I don't know. We really
you know how I would write her. I have an idea.
Go on.
Like, as much as I'm not a big fan of the Pickle Rick episode from Rick and Morty, there is that great scene with the therapist when she's like very down to the ground with explaining, hard work. And the meaning of therapy as a work to the family. So in sense, I would write her as being very, like, she seems very not normal, wrong word, but very down to the earth. Yeah, ordinary. Yeah, but she has that, very down to the ground, very high. Strong mentality and very mentor-like, but she can she's a very sweet person, but she can be very direct. You know?
True. James Hill, what if Gohan, Goten, and Trunks became Super Saiyan gods after Battle of Gods? Okay, so if they basically got all the things, well, I'd quite like that if they were actually used. If they were actually used by the plot. Okay, cool. They go Super Saiyan God on the island of Android 17. Fun.
And fight the poachers.
Fight the poachers in Super Saiyan God. Whoop-de-doo. So it's just like, yeah, great. Okay, that's great. Yeah, but if they did, it's just like there'd be too many. You'd have a Super Saiyan God bargain sale. Again, like you got in the Buu Saga. It would kind of lose some of its meaning. Manifesto. What if Morrow had a motivation? Like, he seems to want to drain planets of their energy, and that's it? That can't be it, can it? What is his true end goal?
Well, he
Ooh.
could just be a Galactus-style character.
Yeah.
You know, just sort of like maybe whatever power he uses, whatever magic he uses for consuming this energy, right? It could have a side effect. It could be like a drug. It could be like an addiction almost,
Yeah.
where he feels that craving, that hunger, you know, and he's going around or trying to go around like Galactus or like Darth Nihilus in KOTOR 2,
Yeah.
just wanting to consume as much as possible, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, he cannot stop. Like, that it's just something he cannot control. He cannot stop, and he just cannot.
And
compare.
to add, you know, his old thing, like being a control freak on the top of that, you know.
Ah, yes, true. That as well. Okay, I think that seems about right. Enicia, 2011. Hello, I'm recently a fan and I've been wondering. Well, welcome. What if all three Saiyans turn good? It's like Nappa, Vegeta, and Raditz. Well, if they all turn good, if they all turn good at the same time, they probably would just bail on Frieza and just go off and do their own adventures. Like, find some way on a planet on their own to get stronger, and then one day mount an attack against Frieza. So
I could see a timeline in which they all turn good, but I couldn't necessarily justify them all turning good at the same time, right?
it would take,
Like,
it would be in
I
stages.
could see Raditz turns good first. Nappa would turn good second after being more or less abandoned by Vegeta on Earth, right? Something like that. And Raditz, of course, would help him to, you know, come to the good side of the good guys, you know. And then on Namek, would be when Vegeta kind of makes his sort of turn. But I think Vegeta would stay the sort of same character he had always been to one degree or another, this kind of anti-hero for a long time until he really comes into his own as a heroic character. But I think that would probably be the best way to have them all three, like, you know, swap sides during a what if. But it's a little tricky because, you know, you can never adding new characters to the mix can be a bit of a difficult balance. I know that you and Haverok experience this a lot when you decide to write like these what if X character turned good or anything like that, you know, or even with something like what if Gine went to Earth with Goku, it becomes a bit tricky when trying to work out the power dynamics and stuff like that. Like Dragon Ball changes a lot when you have a Saiyan involved who knows they're a Saiyan and has the power level of a Saiyan, even a really low powered Saiyan. Dragon Ball changes a ton when you introduce Gine to the mix.
Oh, it totally
and so
does.
It's a very similar situation when you wind up having so many of these good guy Saiyans.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Absolutely. It does muddy the waters in some way. Kane Todd, what if Gohan was trained by Master Roshi instead of Piccolo? I think it would shake things up when the Saiyans come. I think, yeah, maybe he could do some training, like, as a way of respect from Goku's point of view. But I feel like, you know, Chi-Chi would not really want to have much to do with this. So I think it would be a bit of a tricky compromise in that sense. But at least Chi-Chi would know where he was, in that sense. He could learn the Kamehameha, and I think Roshi would actually be a really good teacher in that moment of crisis. So I think you could have like a moment of reflection. It'd certainly be less harsh than Piccolo.
The question is, would Gohan get as many gains? Because sadly, the harshness of Piccolo's training is the reason why Gohan got so many gains in such a short time.
Yeah, yes, that's true. That is true. That is very true.
Sad. It's a sad truth, but
it's a sad truth, but
true.
it is a truth nonetheless.
Yeah.
Dark Cloud Alpha. What if Future Trunks got the ultimate form during his Boo saga? Again, I'm surprised that didn't happen. Like, you know, but then again, we obviously didn't have the Z sword breaking with the Elder Kai all that kind of stuff. So therefore, I don't think Shin knew that ultimate, the ultimate technique, or how to bring out the ultimate form. But okay, saying that, okay, Trunks did train with the Z Sword, and he did break the Z Sword, and the Elder Kai came out, trained him, became ultimate. I feel like Trunks would then refine that even more and keep it, and I think he would actually be really formidable. Like, Goku Black would really be on the defensive for a little longer. He would still get the upper hand eventually, but I think Trunks would be able to fend him off for longer.
I think Ultimate Trunks wouldn't give Black a chance. Like during their first encounter, I don't think Black would have enough control of Goku's body to realize that Trunks is much stronger than.
Okay, well in that sense, then we'd actually have a future, and Trunks and Mai would actually have a place to be in. That wasn't someone else's.
Yeah.
So you'd have that. Master Riku, what if Gine's cooking skills made up for a low power level? Oh, they totally do. They totally do. Like in Gine, in the Gine What If, she is a really she was a terrible cook by human standards, but she gets much better by part 16. Like by that point. But in terms of a saying, that's what she did. She was a preparer of meat. That's what she did. And it was very degrading, but in her eyes at that time, she had such low self-esteem. That's all she thought she could do. So, really, nowadays, she would use her cooking skills mainly just for the sake of catharsis and actually therapeutic. So, but in the sense of, like, that's kind of what happened when she was on planet Vegeta. You know, she got kicked out of the Bartok's force, and that's where she was relegated to. So, I guess that's where they would be made up. Funyarimpa again. What if Bacterian trained like Goku? Well, he would take a shower, first of all. He would then realize he could get strength without stinking out the place. I think he would actually see some very good gains, because you having to shift all that bulk around, you would actually grow strong quite quickly. Granted, you wouldn't be the strongest fighter. Yeah, you wouldn't be the fastest fighter out there, but you'd be mighty. Like, probably like a power level of maybe 400. But
it would be like Yachirobe.
Yeah, you'd have a power level of 400, but even he'd be stronger technically than Goku and Piccolo, but he'd be slower, and therefore it would balance out. And actually, I think the smaller fighters would be still more advantageous. So ultimately, trade-off in that regard. Red Dragon Force 2. What if there was a villain who was immune to attacks from pure-blooded Saiyans? Hybrids could do limited damage, but it would give the humans an advantage. That's not a bad idea, Red Dragon. Like, you have some kind of baddie who is, like, able to counter Saiyan attacks. Like, Key Blast.
Tafel created. Like, Tafel
created,
would be the one who would come up with a character like this.
Yeah. So if you had that, that could be definitely interesting. And as you say, it would give the humans an advantage. And like I say, and you'd have, like, Krillin going, well, look who's come crawling back to the Krill Dog. Like, you Saiyans want my help now, do ya? Well, get on your knees, Vegeta, and beg for it. Oh, no. No. I'm not hearing a yes. There you go. I guess you don't want my help. It's like, and then he does it. It's like, I'm going to remember this moment for the rest of my life. Just that kind of thing. All right. Dark Cloud Alpha. What if Gohan was a genius like Bulma? He sort of is, but in, like, book smarts rather than in engineering. Like, it's a different kind of intelligence. He is more academic, and Bulma's more kind of an engineering practical intelligence.
Yeah.
Like, she is still really intelligent in books, but her biggest aspect of her intelligence is in engineering and practical stuff, using her hands.
And the other thing is that Gohan is supposed to be genius, but sadly, you know, the Battle of Gods era storylines are kind of bad in showing him as a genius.
They just say, "Oh, he goes to conferences, therefore he is
smart."
Oh,
he's a genius. Yeah.
Therefore,
smart.
he is the smart. There you go.
He does the smart things.
Yeah.
If you go to conferences, you can be a genius too.
Just be sure to go to the right ones and not those Ponzi schemes. All right, Nick Wolf. This is a two-parter from him. Idea for what if King Vegeta could see the future, part 2. Raditz hears of Dragon Balls from Goku, wants to revive Vegeta's brothers. Vegeta has to stop them. Goku uses the Dragon Balls to wish Broly and Tarbal spirits to Earth's check-in station. Vegeta has a year to stop them from using the balls again. Okay. So to kind of like, in a way, stop that, Vegeta's like kind of like this person who is thinking that these two need to stay dead or else terrible things will happen. So I could see that being a good idea, Nick. So thank you very much for sharing. We'll make a note of it, but honestly, that story is a one-parter, but we will take a note of it anyway, Nick.
Yeah.
Rufael, what if Cell, due to the Goku cell, falls in love with Galena? Oh, Galena, who was that?
I don't know.
Galena, Dragon
Oh,
Ball?
it says Galena is a woman from Jump Force. She was an original character for the game designed by Akira Toriyama.
Oh, right.
Oh.
Well, according to...
I never played Jump Force, so...
Well, she's another fan servicey type of character. A wicked and cruel
Why am I
woman
not
who likes to
surprised?
punish people and inflict pain on them. She sees Prometheus as the power that can enable her to rule as a god. Okay. So basically, Cell falls in love and basically is endeared to her basic desire for conquest and power. Okay.
Oh yes, I love a woman who wants to take initiative. I respect the women's. It's like, I, Perfect Cell, welcome anyone who wishes to excel in their abilities. And also who is
Excel.
actually... Yes. Yeah.
Now... Oh, and now that just reminds me, just doing that thing, it reminds me of Dexter's dad doing that voice.
Ah, yes! Saturdays are made for Cell. And Cell's
Saturdays
car-
are made for Cell.
Cells. And Cell's car.
That's a good episode.
I just...
One of the few ones from the post-Gindi era.
Just Jeff Bennett. Jeff Bennett is so good. Like...
I love it.
It's the same guy who's Johnny Bravo. That guy's got range. He really does.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Brandon Couples. What if a user of the multiform technique did the fusion dance with themselves?
We had that once, I remember, and it was a conundrum.
We did have a conundrum about that, but basically, I would say in terms of power, you're basically half times half. I'm going to do that right now. Just 0.5 times 0.5. You'd actually end up with less. 0.5 times 0.5 is 0.25. So if you fused with yourself in multiform, you'd end up even weaker. I imagine Toriyama coming up with that to be basically say, try that out, smart ass. Basically, let's just get two multiform techniques people and fuse together. Oh no. And then Toriyama says, oh yeah, you want to do that? You end up weaker. There you go. Basic multiplication.
And when you diffuse with yourself, how does it, like, you diffuse with yourself and your multiform, whereas, what's with that? That would be so crazy. You'll diffuse and you'll connect again with those things. That would be like...
An infinite loop. An infinite loop of fusing.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty bonkers in that sense.
Yeah.
Alright, Mr. Leon, how would Goku train Deku if he met him? Well, basically, in terms of training, we gotta fight. A lot.
First, he would kidnap him,
Yes.
as he does with kids.
Yeah, he'd go and train with them for 10 years and not make any social contact at all. Goku being the ultimate example of social distancing.
Yeah, and after that, Deku would technically have some impressive force, but he would do nothing.
But then
in
he
the
would
end.
become narratively irrelevant, just like Oob. Jabba the Hutt 50. What if Goku took the Z Fighters to train on Yardrat during the 3-year time skip before the Android saga? You see,
Right?
This is Goku hoarding the attacks. But you feel like out of all of... But we said this a couple of times before, so we'll keep it short. But basically, I think Ten Shin Han would be the biggest benefactor out of all of this. He would probably be the one to master it faster than Goku. Like, the gains, he may not be as strong as Goku, but he would certainly have gotten it faster, so he might be able to counter it and
I would say
train it better.
Tien and Chiaotzu as well.
Yeah, okay, Chiaotzu as well. So yeah, those two would benefit the most. Red Dragon Force. So basically, if you had Ten Shin Han versus Semi-Perfect Cell, him doing the Shinki Koho would actually cause damage.
Yeah.
That would actually hurt. And I think, Cell would actually be incapacitated.
Hey, maybe Shin is so pathetic because Tien was stealing his Kikoho all the time.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Red Dragon Force 2. What if Gohan recruited a new team of fighters that were children of Goku's opponents from the World Martial Arts Tournament to defend Earth after the Cell Saga? Think Ben 10 Alien Force. Well, it depends if they all had kids and stuff. But, in a way, that could be kind of cool if Gohan fully embraced his title as the new Defender of Earth. Oh, and Raina Lax in return says, imagine Giganta Max Chiaotzu.
Oh, yes.
Now who's the short stuff? That kind of stuff.
Giant psychic type.
Oh, yes. It'd be just like Gigantamax Pikachu just going, P. Yeah. That stuff. But basically, if he did, it would be an interesting way of bringing in those characters from Dragon Ball back into the fold. Yes, it would be a good way. And it's vertical character building, as in using characters that already exist instead of making new ones who people aren't invested in as much. So it's good. Kane Todd says he's got to go clock in. Have a great day. Well, have a great day to you too, Kane. Take it easy.
Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.
Alright, Podo is up next. Can we hear that Mineta impression? It sounded like you were about to do for a minute there, Masako. I wasn't trying to do a Mineta impression. I actually wasn't. That was just a mixture of Roshi and stuff like that, but that was a bit overeager. So I hate to burst your bubble.
I wouldn't
there,
know
Podo.
how to do a Mineta impression because I don't watch the dub.
Neither do I. I really need to. I think now that season 4 is pretty much done, I'm pretty much. I need to sit down and actually go through all of it. I'm up to episode 10 of season 1, so I have started it, but then my internet went down for a while and it just kind of slipped my mind. So I'm now gonna go back,
I would say,
since there is loads of material to go through.
I haven't seen enough of this, but I know one thing. I know that Mineta doesn't deserve even an impression or a mention.
Absolutely. And Fred Miller, your super chat has been noted. I have seen that, but we do have a backlog, but we will get to you, pal. All right, APC 218. What if during the Buu saga, the characters realized Gohan was still alive? They just used the Dragon Balls to wish everyone back to life. Gohan was still alive. They just used the Dragon Balls to wish everyone back to life. Grandpa Gohan. Grandpa Gohan. So, say for example, Grandpa Gohan was there alive. So basically, it'd be a really neat way of ending the series. Like, after all that, Gohan was now alive. Done by surprise, and then you'd have that kind of reuniting moment with his son, or his adopted son. It'd be sweet and schmaltzy, but it wouldn't make any sense.
Yep.
Okay. Neil Browning. What if Vegeta was sent with Goku and for whatever reason was raised as the brother of circumstance with Goku under Grandpa Gohan? I think Vegeta would be a sense of basically this is convenient. This old man is rather convenient. He gives me food, shelter. I won't kill him yet. But if he tries anything, I am not afraid to do what I have to do as the Prince of all Saiyans. I went Brian Drummond there for a second.
Yeah, I think that Grandpa Gohan would be kind enough to just call him Prince, just to entertain him.
Just to humor him, yeah. Funyorimpa, thank you very much for your super chat. And Anime Guy 01. What if Ultimate Gohan was godlike Saiyan? We've had this a few times actually, and it is an interesting side theory. That the ultimate power is like, baby's first god key. So it's like an introduction to god key. So it kind of gives you the basics of it. So it makes you more receptive to it later down the line. So again, I think that could be quite interesting. So if it were, then I think Gohan could get Super Saiyan God quite easily. Or he could, basically catch up with Goku and Vegeta in a way. Okay. Nick Wolf. Again, what if Tellus was Goku's Tuffle clone? Oh, imagine ironic punishment. Basically, it's a Tuffle in Saiyan disguise. And basically, the fruit of the tree managed to counter it in making you think he's a Saiyan, but he's actually a Tuffle. And he's just like a clone.
It would be interesting, but if you were going to have him be a clone of somebody, I would feel like he'd have to be a clone of some ancestor because the Tuffles were already wiped out by then, right?
Yeah.
So let's say, okay, so like he's a hybrid. He's this Tuffle Saiyan hybrid, cloned using Saiyan DNA. Have him be like an ancestor of Bartok.
Yeah, Bartok's dad or something.
Yeah, why
Yeah,
not? Why not? Why not?
Yeah. But, yeah.
It's already a bit of a stretch anyway, so why not? Let's just go with it. What if Good Boy Nappa and Good Boy Raditz met? Would they be cordial, or would there be too much bad blood on Raditz's end?
They will punch each other.
They'll punch each other for a while, and then they'll get over it.
Yeah, they will go for a boost.
They basically they punch it out of their systems, and then they go for a drink. I would totally agree with that. Certainly.
Yeah.
Kiara, what if Goku can't control his Zaru because of the happy nature he has in his base? I mean, yeah, that's a fair point, but the actual truth is that he had no training in how to. And that was made clear by Paragus. If you had no training in the Ozaru form, you cannot control it. Like, no matter how prodigious you are, if you've not been formally trained in it, then you stand no chance, me old buckaroo. From actually...
Yeah, like even adults risk losing control. Like he outright tells the guy who wound up shanghaied with him, Beats. He's like, don't stare at the moon. You'll turn into an Ozaru and you'll
like
be out
you
of
have had
control.
no training because you're dumb. It's like, because you are
Because
dumb.
you're just a mechanic.
Why would you need to become a great Ozaru unless you need to screw in a spanner from a great height without a ladder? And then Beats would just imagine a giant monkey holding a wrench. Yeah. Funyorimpa, what if Vegeta was born around the same time as Goku? Okay. I mean, honestly, there'd be much less resentment and being spoiled, because if Vegeta was a baby at the same time Planet Vegeta was destroyed, he wouldn't really have an inclination or being ever treated as a prince. I think he would actually be... He and Nappa, I mean, Vegeta would still be stronger, like much stronger than Nappa, but they would be brothers in arms in a way. There'd be much more loyalty amongst the three of them. There's not that hierarchy. So, I mean, in a way, Nappa would still treat Vegeta better because he knows he's the prince. But I feel like at the same time, they don't have the facilities, and I think he would actually I think Vegeta would be much more humble. I mean, for a Saiyan. Yeah. Nick Wolf. Also, what if Good Boy Raditz met female Goku? Wow, it's amazing how much smarter you are as a woman, Kakarot.
Thank you? I guess? I mean, yeah, trust Good Boy Raditz to say something that tactless. I mean, yeah. That's, as King Kai would say, yeah, sounds about right. Yeah, this there. Yoni the K. Hi there, it's my first roundtable. Welcome, Yoni. So, what if there was no Ozaru? The Saiyans are still strong, so everything is the same till the beginning of DB. So, like, say, for example, instead of Ozaru, they just had, like, a berserker power that made them 10 times stronger temporarily. Like, the full moon. It gives them that. They still have some kind of control. Yeah, I mean, in Dragon Ball, it would make the escape from Pilaf's castle a little bit more precarious. Like, you can't just have a giant monkey explode the roof off. So you'd have to find another way of using that power to get out of there. There'd be some things you'd have to change, but in Z, not really much would change.
But you must... Before Z, there might have bigger problems against Tuffles.
Yeah, it'd be a bit more of a challenge instead of much of a cakewalk, but I still think the Saiyans would win. Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. Hey gang, from Tempest Mask, here's a silly one. Assuming it's any given time period, what if Pan convinced Goku to make a GodTube channel to keep up with the times? Okay. Hey guys, it's your Space Boy! And basically, he would show you all these techniques, but he would not tell you how to do them, because Goku does not share. Or basically, or he says, if you want to check things out, and this is obviously Chi-Chi telling him to, because he needs to make money, I've made an OnlyFans account! So basically, Goku makes an OnlyFans account because Chi-Chi wants to find a way to make money. Crowdfunding! If Goku's going to do this, he needs to find a way to make money. So there you go. So that's the only way he would do it. But
Oh god.
nah, but Chi would have to become his manager in a way. Yeah. Red Dragon Force 2. What if Gohan regrew his tail when fighting Frieza and Vegeta used Power Ball to get him to Ozaru while he got Krillin to do the almost kill him plan? I mean, yeah, Gohan was quite strong when he fought Third Form Frieza, but I think even with the 10 times boost, it would not be quite enough to beat him. It would certainly give Third Form Frieza a challenge, like, at that time. But I feel like it would still not be enough. It would scare the bejesus out of Frieza, but ultimately, he would not defeat him. But it would certainly be an interesting twist. And it would drive Frieza to real anger. Say, I have had it with all you monkeys! And all that kind of stuff. It would make him even more frustrated. Saiyan Lord 210. What if Master Roshi and Shen remained friends? Well, you wouldn't have the animosity between the Crane School and the Turtle School. You maybe even have Ten Shinhan coming to visit Kame House. And vice versa, like an exchange program. That'd be kind of interesting. And,
Interesting.
yeah, so you kind of have that. I think he'd have that in a way. James Cameron. Happy Easter to all of you. Well, thank you, James. When will the next part of What If Trunks Met Kid Bulma be? Probably not for a while, because I actually think it's kind of done, honestly. I need to think of a good way of actually...
The reason why you think it's kind of dumb, Moss...
No, not
is
dumb.
because...
Not dumb. Done. D-O-N-E.
Oh, done. I thought you said kind of dumb, and I was going to say the reason that you think that is probably just because you're not ready to give in to what people really want from that scenario.
No. No. I think you think that people would know by now that you would not expect smut in my what ifs. Have you seen the algorithm?
No, I'm not saying they expect smut. I think what they're expecting is more of that degree of level of comedy with regard to that sort of situation.
So
but those shenanigans are uncomfortable to write.
So basically, instead of Yamcha seeing Bulma in the shower, oh no, it's her son from the future. Oh, here comes the hijinks.
Peak comedy.
There is no level of screaming that would be able to encapsulate that moment.
You gotta remember, Maz. We live in a horrible era of really, really questionable anime plot lines right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, touche. Too friggin'
The
touche.
questionable plotline saga.
It's not just a saga, it's never ending. Alright, Red Dragon Force 2. Okay, let's move on. What if Goku got to meet Bartok and Hippel during the filler arc? Would he warn Goku of Frieza? I think probably if he did meet Goku and realized that Goku is getting stronger, I feel like he would probably pass on some information because he would know that Goku would, he would know his son would once again face Frieza. So he would know that he would go to revenge his people, so he would give him every single bit of information he could. So he would definitely help. But it's mainly just kind of like, I'm here to do this to actually fulfill a prophecy, rather than me doing it out of love. Yeah, it's destiny. That kind of stuff. Yep. And Red Dragons again. What if Gohan chose to become the next God to protect Earth? Okay. I don't know, he wouldn't do that. Because if you think about it, Gohan would then have to become immortal. He would think, oh great, does that mean Videl and Pan get to become immortal as well? And Whis like, Gohan, you might want to sit down. And it's like, yeah, no, they die. And it's like, Gohan would be immortal, his loved ones would die, everyone he knows would die. It would basically be future Gohan. And then he died too. So basically that. If Gohan did that to protect Earth, he'd have to eschew everybody. And that would be awful. Like, ugh. It would be... The dramatic overtones would be ridiculous. I love it. I love it. I love dramatic overtones. I love torturing my characters. Like,
who doesn't? I
mean, to be honest, the whole thing we, in episode 5 of R&R, you will see a moment with Raditz. You will feel the oops for that guy. I'm not gonna say anything.
Tease, you big tease. You said that there's a big oofer moment.
Yeah, but I'm
You
not gonna
big
say.
tease.
I'm not gonna be. I'm not gonna be
No,
saying how.
no.
Okay.
Masako trying to build that hype, teasing people.
Oh. Oh,
Let
okay.
them experience
Okay.
the
Okay.
whole thing
All right. Okay. All right.
unspoiled.
All right. All right. Cool. Cool your Bora Jets. Cool your Bora Jets, dude. Okay.
Bora Bora.
All right. What if? Okay. Anime Guy 01. What if the Buu arc didn't interrupt the 21st World Martial Arts Tournament? I think ultimately Vegeta would win. I think Vegeta would win the tournament if they continued it on. Because he would not bow down to Mr. Satan's desire for money, because he's already got money from Bulma, so he would just win. Vegeta would win the tournament. So there you go. Jacob Simpson, hey, what if Bartok went with Goku to Earth? We've had this a couple of times, but in short, Bartok would leave Goku there, check whether he was safe or not, and then just like go away for a while and then come back just to check on him, make sure he's safe.
Right, son.
Yeah, but it's just like,
If you really want a situation where Bartok stays with Goku on Earth in any kind of degree, okay, I think this is probably the one scenario where it might happen, at least in some part, right? Okay, so they crash land on Earth, right? Grandpa Gohan shows up, finds the two of them, right? Bartok kind of, but not entirely, explains sort of the situation insofar as like, yeah, we're aliens and stuff like that. But Gohan's like, I see you've got a kid with you, you know. Do you, and he's like, here, come on, I'll help you guys out, I'll feed you or whatever. And Bartok is like, okay, well, I'll at least get a meal out of this guy before I decide to do whatever with this planet, right? And he sees how well Gohan handles the baby Kakarot, and he's like, okay, you know what I can do is I can repair our damaged ship, I can do recon on this planet, I can start putting plans into motion for setting up my own vengeance against Frieza, and I can also monitor like the interstellar like radio waves, so to speak, to see what's going on. While I get prepped to leave. And then, like, a few years later, you know, Bartok will have done whatever he needs to do as far as feeling like he has prepped enough to begin his vengeance quest against Frieza. But his kid's still young. His kid is still not very powerful. So what he does is he winds up leaving Kakarot with Grandpa Gohan and then going on his own way to start their vengeance quest, you know. Like, he's like, I'm going to look for Saiyan survivors, I'm going to bring them back to Earth, and we're going to set this planet up as our base of operations for launching our plan to take down Frieza's empire.
Yeah. It's just an accessory.
That's about as much as I can see it. Like, I don't see them being a family unit. I don't actually even see Bartok spending a ton of time with the baby Kakarot. Like, I see him pawning him off, essentially, on Grandpa Gohan, and then doing his own thing.
Yeah, okay, I could see that. Red Dragon Force 2. What if Chi-Chi died in childbirth with Gohan or Goten? Ooh. I think one thing's for sure, Goku would have a lot more support from, like, Bulma and, like, Krillin and stuff like that. People would support him immensely. Ox King probably would move in as well. Or invite Goku to actually, you know, stay with him. Like, just to help the kid take care of the kid. So, in that sense, Goku wouldn't be left alone. But I feel like Goku would try to be a good parent. Like, Goku isn't a bad parent because he doesn't want to be. He just doesn't know how. He's a good parent for a Saiyan, but, you know, but for a...
Well, and you got to remember that Goku in canon has a wife who cares about the kids and looks after them intensely, right? If Goku were in any situation where he could not rely upon Chi-Chi or whomever it was he chose to marry, right? Whomever was the other half in his relationship, if he couldn't rely on them, I do think that he would devote himself a little bit more intensely to the care of his children.
Yeah.
But in the canon, he's able to get away with not doing that because he knows, Chi-Chi will take care of it.
Yeah, exactly. So you would definitely have that. Manifesto says Cell-X is dumb. Maybe have Anilaza instead. Nah, that's fair. Anilaza is kind of cool.
Yep.
Jacked out. What if Evil Boo survived? If Evil Boo survived, well, the thing is, though, Evil Boo did sort of survive. He just got amalgamated back in and became Super Boo. That's basically what happened. He did sort of survive. He became the dominant force in Super Boo. He just reformed with Good Boo and became the dominant force instead of the other way around. So, okay, for example, so basically, say, for example, if it wasn't the innocent Boo that survived, like, if it was Evil Boo, like, how would he do it? Like, how would well, he wouldn't survive. He'd have to, one thing's for sure, he'd have to leave the planet. He'd have to get out of Earth quick. He could not stay there because they would wipe his ass, pretty much. APC218. What if the Android saga went as Toriyama originally planned with Android 19 to 20? Would Jiro's character have been explored more? Happy Easter to you all. You know what? I don't think he would have. Because honestly, they would have beaten him really quickly. Unless he was able to find some way of increasing his own power. But I don't really know how because we never got that story. But to be honest, if we just had 19 and 20, the Android arc would be nowhere near as impactful. It would have just been, it would have been a disappointment, I think. It would have been cool to see everybody train and Vegeta become a Super Saiyan, yeah. But the lasting impact would be really minimal, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Dark Cloud Alpha. What if Cell could make his own DragonBallZ? Well, okay, technically he can't because he is based off a Namekian who is a warrior clan Namekian. But if he could, I don't think they'd be that strong. I think they'd only be able to do, like, a certain amount of things because it only makes a certain component. So I think he'd only, like, have, like, things that could help him, like, give him temporary buffs and stuff like that. Basically, he could, like, cast magic and stuff like that. He can cast Magic Missile. There you go. Temporary buffing, I think. G-Constraint. What if the Z Fighters use the DragonBallZ to their true potential? Example, your what if Krillin was a Saiyan? Well, the thing is that they kind of do. Like, the biggest potential, the biggest benefit that the DragonBallZ have is to bring people back to life. You could cure hunger. You could make people, you know, do stuff to the way you want. Or, you know, you could do that. You could do a lot of stuff. And for the most part, bringing people back from the dead is a pretty big deal. That is a very useful thing. It's not just like with Dr. Kochin, who he just wants to melt ice. That's it. It's not that. The majority of the wishes are actually quite reasonable. That you cannot get anywhere else. So there you go. So I think they actually do use them pretty well. Yeah, in terms of actual capacity and the volume. Anime Guy 01. What if Krillin was female? Would she be bullied more or less at the temple? Okay, she probably would be bullied more because, oh, go Shaolin monk. Oh, that is so different. Kids hate different things. Would she want to prove more she's stronger than Goku? Would she challenge Chi-Chi for Goku's hand in marriage?
You have to consider something when it comes to that. First off, okay, well, you'd have to get a little bit more into the development of the actual, like, monastery where Krillin was originally trained, right? Because most from what I've read on a lot of that stuff, there was a lot of casual sexism in that sort of stuff. Now, that's not to say that women don't learn martial arts, especially when it comes to Shaolin martial arts in China. There's plenty of female martial artists when it comes to kung fu. But I do think the bullying might have been a little bit more intense. You know, it tends to be that way, and I do think, considering how deep Krillin and Goku's friendship runs in the canon, I do think that if Krillin did go to train with Master Roshi, Fem Krillin probably would develop something of a crush on Goku, but it would be this kind of tsundere-like relationship, right? Because you gotta remember, Krillin in canon, as a kid, bit of a jerk, a bit of a little snot, especially Goku at first.
Oh yeah.
So I see Fem Krillin having an almost like an Asuka Langley Soryu-esque classic tsundere personality, of like trying to one up Goku and like being very, very haughty and arrogant when she manages to pull it off, but getting really upset and angry when Goku beats her at something. But over time, those feelings turn into romantic feelings. Now, I do think in that same sense, you'd probably have Chi-Chi and Krillin competing to some degree. Maybe you wind up with a bit of a different scenario in the World Martial Arts Tournament where Krillin and Chi-Chi kind of decide they want to face off against each other to see who's going to be taking on Goku in the semifinals or the finals, whichever you want to call it. And while I'm not a huge fan of women fighting over guys in media, I could see it working for this kind of story. It is a shonen series after all. And I'm a big fan of the Krillin and Goku pairing in general, because I mean, like, Krillin's one of the main characters throughout canon that Goku has like unconditionally shown that he loves. Like, he is very upset when it comes to people hurting Krillin. So I could see them maybe getting together.
Yeah, okay. I could see that too. Alright, Jacked Out. What if Zamasu trained with his God? So with Rumshi. I feel like I think Rumshi would actually take him under his wing quite well because he loves strength and muscle. And seeing Zamasu with all this potential and all the hype that he's had, he would really want him to say, I want that one rather close because he is rather strong and I love strength. So I think he would take him off Goasu's hands and just embrace his power and just like say, I want you to get even stronger, boy. I need a strong Supreme Kai to match a very strong God. And I think, you know, Zamasu would roll with it. You get a meathead. You get a meathead Zamasu in a way.
Yeah, and they will often address the elephant in the room. Yeah.
Dark Cloud Alpha. What if the nameless Namekian kept his memories? Well, if he did, then it wouldn't be a very good time because he'd probably want to quite easily forget. Forget his past, certainly. But I think ultimately it'd just be like, it wouldn't really be that much if Kami, Kami had the memories. It would, there'd be a lot less intrigue. He'd remember he was a Namekian. He'd tell everyone he was from Namek. You know, I think it would just add a little bit of, it would remove mystery from Kami in that way. Red Dragon Force 2. What if Gohan used his quick thinking to teleport Frieza back to his home planet for Porunga's third wish before the fight began? Oh, okay. Well, okay, granted, yes, it would buy them some time, but, you know, he would end up back on his planet. King Cole's like, oh, back so soon, boy? And it's like, Father, I have been massively wronged and tricked with DragonBallZ. You need to come back with me. I need to borrow your ship. We need to teach those punks a lesson. Oh, are we going to do a bit of good old-fashioned ass-whooping? Count me in. Where are my shoes? Where are my space shoes? As you say, Haverok, he'd bring back King Cold with him, and he would just blow up the planet. Yeah. So there you go. Good idea, Red Dragon, but it would. Let's just play the sound. Red Dragon again. What if Gohan used his quick thinking to oh no, we did that. Sorry. Jacked Out. What if Goku that switched with Zamasu survived? So basically, if like the Goku in Zamasu's body actually managed to get away, I think what he would try and do is just he would know instant transmission, so he could use instant transmission to get to to get to Whis and Beerus and like just go like, look, help! This is really bad thing has happened. Like, I need this to be fixed. So he would try and find some way to get help, but it would be a race against time. Kartik Aya, what if Beerus appeared in the GT timeline? I think, again, Beerus has been shown to really not do much now, artificially, because, you know, you can't have Beerus do anything, because otherwise he would break every character. So, you would have to find some way of bringing him in that was actually, you know, justified, you know? without him being too overpowered. Like, it would have to have something connected to him in that sense. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, we don't know. Like, we kind of know that, you know, Super Saiyan 4 and Super Saiyan Blue are kind of close to each other, but I don't think that might be the kind of power he was looking for.
Yeah, so I think...
Yeah, right. If I just wanted to fight a strong mortal, I would go to universe, to one of the other universes.
Yeah, so basically, those are the clinchers in that regard.
Yeah.
Okay. Paparacha, what if Oolong and Poir were turned into the androids? Oh man,
We had that one, but believe us or not.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
And I think we basically just said it would be kind of interesting if they did. It would be a good use of their character. But their overall strength, I mean, those Infinity Engines would have to make them way stronger. But you would also have the element of surprise, because they could transform. They could transform into objects.
Transformers, pigs and cats in disguise.
Yes, exactly. So you'd have that element of surprise. Okay, that's kind of cool. Jesse Goff, setup order. Piccolo is revived. Earth Dragon Balls get 1 year cooldown. Frieza wins and destroys Namek. He's refused wishes. What if Frieza went to Earth to use the Dragon Balls? Okay, so basically, Frieza blows up Namek, and he decides, like, to do what they did in Resurrection F, just gather the Earth Dragon Balls in their own time. Just do that, get the Dragon Balls, and basically get his way the way they want to. So, the waiting game in that sense. Instead of Frieza just going like, just straight, I want to destroy those people once and for all, I don't care, I'm just going to come in all guns blazing. He actually does the element of surprise and goes like, okay, let's go and get the Earth Dragon Balls, and let's wish for them to be destroyed. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Playing the quiet game. It's not really Frieza's style at that time, but, it's cunning in that way, to be fair. Firethorn. What if Half Saiyans were all aggressive like OG Broly? And we had that earlier with all the rage boosts and stuff. But if that was like a characteristic trait, that would mean every single Half Saiyan hybrid was all like rage induced. Like you'd have Pan, Bulla, Trunks, Goten. They'd all be like that. And honestly, it would get tiresome because they're all the same. Yeah, the same character. They need to vary.
It would limit the characterization a little bit because it would mean that they'd all have like this very same obstacle that needs to kind of like be overcome. And that's very, that sort of recycled character trait is a little bit it gets stale after a while. What's more is that it causes problems for the narrative when you have so many different characters that risk becoming enraged, mindless brutes, because I mean, like when you look at the rage boosts, when you look at what happens when Broly loses control, or when Gohan would lose control in the early days, right? I mean, like they are psychotic in their berserker rage, and dealing with more than just a couple of characters that are like that starts to make things get very awkward when it comes to writing the narrative, because you have to come up with scenarios to fix this problem every single time it presents itself. Yeah,
so it just becomes more complicated. So the way we got it now is just much more simple. Absolutely. APC, what if Vegeta could learn instant transmission in Super Saiyan 3 through his fusion with Goku? Well, the thing is that we think Vegeta does know Super Saiyan 3. He just chooses not to use it. But because obviously it doesn't offer him anything that he would need. But if he did learn instant transmission, I feel like eventually he would probably go back to Yardrat and finish off the training to instant transmission, because he hasn't learned it in the moral arc. That's important to remember. Like, he skipped that training. He wants to go off and he wants to learn the bigger stuff. So, he skipped the basic training and gone for the hard mode. So, if he went back to finish it off, I think maybe either Goku would teach him, out of respect for him actually doing it, or he would just go back to Bibara and just finish it off. In that sense.
In calmer times,
Yeah, in peacetime, yeah, absolutely. Red Dragon Force 2, just wanted to share this. My version of Cell's nucleus is that every cell has a memory of its form, and it's not just one specific cell of Cell. Okay. I mean, to be honest, I think that can work. Yeah.
I think that they actually did something with that in the original dub run of the English dub, that they didn't specify that it was a specific organ like the manga or the actual like direct translation and the better translation that they used in Kai did. I think what they had said was that if even the way that they had phrased it was that like Piccolo's regeneration works as long as his head remains, right? But Cell's regeneration is that much better, and as long as a single cell from his body survives, he
That's
can
enough,
regenerate from it. Yeah.
So long as it can survive, so long as there's one cell left in his body, then he can regenerate. Yeah, and actually, having only one cell left of his being, that actually made it all the more stronger, because the ultimate Zenkai, in that sense, because having to go from one cell to generate an entire being, that takes a lot of energy, and that's pretty much the closest to brink of death you can get. So that is like the ultimate Zenkai. Dirty Dan, this is Egg's first time I've caught one of these. Well, cool, Dirty Dan. But the only what if I've got is Nappa and Raditz survive, and I'm sure that's been asked before, so yeah. Well, it has, but we will ingratiate you. We do think that Raditz would be the first one to turn good, and he would then try and convince Nappa to join the team. Like, come on, be a bro. Let's be actually equals for once. All that kind of stuff.
You'd have to have something prevent Vegeta from killing Nappa, of course. Whether it's just he decides not to and just abandons Nappa on the planet, or whether somebody like interferes. But like Raditz would turn good first. He'd help to convince Nappa after Nappa recovered on Earth to turn good, and that's if they didn't try to do something to Nappa anyway. Because you got to remember, Nappa killed a lot of innocent people.
Yeah.
He killed a lot of innocent people. And then of course I feel like Vegeta would mostly follow his similar character development from the canon.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Just like he would just kind of keeps it simple. Keeps it all simples. Alright, let's just see the next one. I just kind of lost the browser thing right here. Okay. Machine Killer. What if Beerus woke up during the Boo saga? He would roll over, go, Whis, has that Super Saiyan God showed up? No, Lord Beerus. Okay, wake me up when he does. Okay. He would just roll over and go back to sleep because his time's not yet. Has it been 39 years? No, Lord Beerus. Oh, wake me up when it is. He maybe would sense all the energy going down and say, that seems kind of a bit of a brouhaha. That's not strong enough for me. Yeah, he would just go, huh, and then fall asleep. Yeah, it's not his time yet.
At best, like if you really want to try and like and play this out, like if you really want us to try and play this out, this is probably what would happen. Beerus would ask about the Super Saiyan God. Whis would look into it, find out that there's this stuff going on about a Super Saiyan, but he's not so certain about the God aspect. Beerus would find out where these so-called Super Saiyans are. He'd travel to Earth, probably wind up in the middle of the fighting, right? Between like Super Boo and the others, or even Kid Boo and the others, And what winds up happening is he wants to question them about the Super Saiyan. Boo attempts to kill this guy who has just shown up from out of nowhere because he's psychotic, especially if it's a Kid Boo scenario, right?
Yeah.
Beerus just grabs him, Hakai's him. The Boo problem is done just all of a sudden. But then it ultimately results in a bad end. Because not only did he have to work because he got pissed off because of Boo attacking him. So he had to work, which we know that Beerus is lazy. He doesn't like having to work. But he'd also be unsatisfied with what he sees from the Saiyan characters and the whole Super Saiyan thing. And at this point in time, the person who'd be giving him the best fight would actually be Ultimate Gohan, who isn't even technically a Super Saiyan when he fights. So he would either be dissatisfied enough to destroy their planet, depending on what planet they're on when they fight, which if they're on the planet of the Kais, he wouldn't destroy that. But at the very best, you wind up in a scenario where Beerus probably hurts and/or kills a lot of our good guys, in addition to the whole Majin Buu scenario, and maybe even threatens to destroy the Earth as compensation for wasting his time.
Yeah, you'd have to think very, very quickly to try and make him not do that.
You might be able to get away with the Elder Kai coming up with something like taking Beerus's mind off of everybody else by Beerus realizing that the Elder Kai is no longer in the Z-Sword and getting frustrated with that instead, and then Shin being like, "Quick, you all need to get back to Earth right away!"
Yeah. It would have to be like a quick, frantic, like, "Oh my god, you guys need to hurry." It'd be a perilous little mini plot twist. I'll give you that. Alright. Podo. Good boy Zamasu is my favorite what if of yours. So what if that Zamasu met your turn good black? I think probably... Well, for the fact is, though, is that it'd be very interesting. I think the good Goku Black would, like, realize that this Zamasu is nowhere near as bad. And he's, like, at that point of no... He's before that point of no return in that regard. So... he would probably just, like, try and find some way to kind of steer him away from that, in that sense.
Yeah, and he would realize that they could take another path and maybe try to do it in different universe,
Exactly. He would try and, like, steer him away. Yeah, he would know that he'd have the upper hand in terms of knowledge and information. So, I think that's what he would definitely do. Okay. Dalen64. A joke what if? What if Krillin adopted Bacterian's smelly fighting style of the 21st tournament? He's the only person who would be immune to that gimmick. Oh yes, because he breathes through his skin.
Earthworm Krill.
Earthworm Krill.
Yeah.
Well, we think he's mighty fine. So, yeah, unfortunately, I think ultimately it would be funny, but Earthworm Krill should not be encouraged.
Nope.
Yeah. Honestly, when it comes to certain gags and gimmicks and stuff from the original Dragon Ball, Bacterian's probably the grossest. And I don't mind things associated with Bacterian not being in Dragon Ball anymore, so I wouldn't be the one to write it, that's for sure. Just too gross. Too gross for me. Don't do that to Krillin. He doesn't deserve it.
Nope.
Oh,
he doesn't deserve to be treated that way.
Aw. Well, yeah, that's kind of fair. Alright, let's see. Next one is Fred Miller. And he asks, what if Goku received the Phoenix instead of the Nimbus as Roshi intended in Dragon Ball? So basically, if he did get the Nimbus... Oh, the Phoenix, sorry. I don't think he would actually like it, because he would get immortality. He would realize, oh, cool. And then, like, he realizes what it means, and I think eventually he would then grow to regret it, and then use the Dragon Balls to undo it. So, yeah, because he would.
It would be a little bit of an interesting plot line thread for some character development for Goku.
Yeah. Oh, of course. That would basically give him some kind of means and a sense of perspective. So that could be interesting. That could be cool. But good idea. Good job. Good one, Fred. All right, Red Dragon. What if Whis checked in on Goku during the Cell games and overheard his speech on Gohan's potential and started making plans for Gohan to become the next God? Okay, I can imagine Whis getting some popcorn because he could sense something going down on Earth. He's like, oh my, what's going on down here?
But at this point, it still was way below.
It's a casual. It's just like,
interest.
this is like tee hee hee. Oh, this is fun. All that. Basically, Whis isn't taking this seriously. He just finds it entertaining. This is entertainment. This is sport, rather than actual, potential. Like, he might jokingly say, oh, he might become the next GOD someday. Oh, I'm whimsical. And all that kind of stuff.
Whimsical. Yeah.
Whimsical, yes. Exactly. So, I feel like that's the way it would go. Just to kind of like, it would be a curiosity at best. Frost, what if there is a Bulma from Universe 6 Earth with purple hair, but younger, who works on helping the Universe 6 Saiyans with inventions and meet the Universe 7 heroes and her twin? So basically, so there is a Bulma from the Universe 6 Earth who managed to escape the planet when Sadala was maybe, like, evacuating people from the Earth when it was about to collapse. So, maybe, this Bulma just so happened to end up on Universe 6 Sadala and became one of their techies. That could be kind of cool. But this knowing Bulma, and if this is a younger version of Bulma, that the older Bulma is just going to go, like, compare herself to her. Like, saying, I looked way harder at your age. And, like, like, there'd be bickering and a competition between them. And it's like, and people would say, it's okay if I'm insulting myself. It's like, but, and then the other Bulma's, but I'm not yourself, I'm myself. You're myself. And it's like, oh, don't get you started in that metaphysical crap. It's like, just like, I am not going to have a paradox right here. I want you to know, I am hotter than you. It's like, just like, she wants to have the last laugh in that sense. But, but I think that would simmer down and then they would actually work together. It'd be it's that initial kind of like squaring off each other. Sizing each other up. So, but I think, honestly though, Frost, that is actually an interesting idea. Because I can't imagine that all the Earthlings on that Universe 6 Earth died. Some of them would have had to escape. Would you guys say?
I don't know if they were technological enough for now. I think they might be goners if it was, a nuclear war. I don't think.
It depends. I'm kind of on the fence. I can definitely see where Haverok's coming from, but you gotta go with a fine balance of whatever makes sense and whatever is the most interesting to write.
Yes.
Touche.
It's a big balancing act.
Yeah, we may have a little boy taken by ravaging pirates who still enjoys listening to music from Earth and growing up to be one of those guys.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh.
He would create that group, Guardians of 6.
Oh, okay. That's... Paparazzi says, Femcell in Femgoku could be the 18 absorbed first. Okay, yeah. But to be honest, I don't think that would make a difference. I think you just have, like, a Cell who was, like, a non-binary. Because, Cell, is a bug. Cell is a bug and that's it. But in terms of the twist, it's because of Femgoku. It's meant to be the culmination of everybody. So you could have that twist. You could have that twist. I mean, we have a certain interesting daughter from the future. So why let's just do Femcell? Why not? Alright. Arthur E. King. What if Kitella or Belmod wanted revenge on Universe 7? Resurrecting Dr. Gero, making a new Cell from Universe 7's team. Oh, Cell 2.0. This time, he doesn't have the spots. Because lesson learned from Toyotaro, lesson learned from his master. So basically, they make a new version of Cell, using all the DNA from all the 10 fighters currently. So you got like a mishmash. It would have to look kind of different, but also harking back to the past in a way. Because I feel like Gero would be that egotistical and wanting to actually, encapsulate one of his past glories and achievements. So I think he'd do something like that. Paparazzi, what if Saiyan aging was connected to stress? Oh, okay. So basically almost like with the nanomachines in Metal Gear Solid. So kind of like
That
in a
would
way...
make sense with Paragus.
Oh yes, but the Paragon, that's the ultimate stress. Yeah, so maybe that's the case. If they were more stressed, well, that means that Goku would live forever because he's never stressed.
Yeah, and stress would give you Zenkai boosts.
Oh
So
god,
Paragus
that would be broken.
Yeah.
Martin Sevcek, what if Super Broly retained his intelligence but had the inherent sadistic nature of original Broly and vice versa? That would actually be quite a clever and very fearful villain, in that sense. He wouldn't be as chaotic evil. He would definitely be neutral evil, in that sense. With chaotic tendencies, but mostly neutral evil, in that sense. But it'd be a more calculated Broly, but honestly, I don't want that. I want Super Broly. Super Broly, everybody wants Super Broly. So, I am going to be so glad, I am going to basically, with my kids, I am going to say, to show them Dragon Ball Super Broly. This is the only Broly in my household. In my house, this is the only Broly.
And if they demand more Broly, you show them the Dragon Ball Z abridged version.
Yeah. John Coleman. Oh, Siri, be quiet. Siri just went, that's what I thought.
She's listening to us, Moss. You're being monitored.
No, but basically, she agreed. She was like, that's what I thought. I was like, okay. Didn't know you liked Broly. Alright, John Coleman. What if Kami wished to be young before King Piccolo? And what if Vegeta married Chi-Chi while Goku married Bulma? The thing is, though, Vegeta wouldn't marry Chi-Chi. I know you're thinking about strong female type, but in that story, she married Yamcha.
Well, yeah, I mean, if first off, if Goku was going to marry Bulma, that would have to be a match that was made pretty early on, like before the turnover into Dragon Ball Z, right?
Yes.
Which means that there's a big time skip that you have to account for. Chi-Chi already had a bit of a thing for Yamcha up until she fell in love with Goku. So Masako taking Chi-Chi and hooking her up with Yamcha in his What If Goku Married Bulma series is pretty much the most logical conclusion that even I could derive from that sort of thing. I don't think Chi-Chi would be single by the time Vegeta showed up. And in all honesty, I don't think she'd go for him because of just how absurd his pride and arrogance is. It's like, while Yamcha can act cocky now and then, when a woman puts him in his place, he eats crow and he takes the beating.
Not to mention, in Earth terms, he's actually successful. He's
actually successful.
Player. Yeah, he's a pro baseball player. They can live in the city. They have a good life for themselves and their kids. That's what she wants.
Unlike Goku, who's a slacker who doesn't want to do work,
and they have to
Yamcha actually had a career.
Yeah, and Ox King could have a good pension. His Roth IRA would be fantastic. So there you go. He wouldn't have to keep giving money to his daughter. Like, seriously. And also with the what if Kami wished to be young before King Piccolo? Basically that would have to be a way of like him going like, because we've had this a few things. Saying that he would want to step in and do something with King Piccolo. He'd have to break his code. That's how we would usually say in that regard. Kartik Aya, what if Bartok escaped and ended up in Vampa? Well, if he ended up with Bartok and he met Paragus and Broly, I imagine that probably, since Bartok is stronger, Paragus wouldn't try and jump him, but at the same time, he has a pod. He has a pod, and Paragus has a baby. He would then, in the middle of the night, take the pod and leave Bartok on Vampa. That's what he'd do.
Yeah.
That's what Paragus would do.
Yeah.
He would recognize that Bartok was stronger.
This is a guy who killed Beats for the sake of trying to conserve. for the sake of trying to conserve food, and there's even a possibility that they may have even cannibalized him. I think he would probably fight against Bartok. Now, and that's the other thing you got to consider too is Paragus's power level wasn't anything to scoff at in Saiyan terms, right? He was well over 4,000. We don't know if Bartok is as powerful as his father of Goku counterpart, because one thing that's always been a constant when it comes to Goku, Kakarot's extended family, is them being ripped on for being low-class warriors, right? And knowing that Bartok was considered low-class, knowing that and Toriyama does a lot of retconning too. Like apparently he retconned Raditz as being not a low-class warrior, but a mid-class warrior by Saiyan standards.
What?
Did you not hear about that?
Raditz isn't a mid-class. He's a low-class warrior.
Toriyama apparently said in some interview that Raditz is actually up closer to like the middle tier, but he's still mocked because he's got this low power level compared to the elites like Nappa and like Vegeta.
He's only a mid-class because he's with the prince. That's it. That's the only reason. He's basically by name, really.
But like, even if you discount all of the retcons, like Bardock's family is known, his bloodline is known for being low-class Saiyan warriors, which means that they're probably around the ballpark of 2,000 or less, which means Bartok not getting a big, huge Zenkai boost like he did in Father of Goku, and getting that 10,000 power level, that power level of 10,000. You know, if Bartok showed up on Rampa and was weaker than Paragus would have no qualms about killing Bartok and taking his stuff.
Yeah. So I think that's fair. Arcadianite. What if Gohan became Saiyaman Saiyaboy directly after the Cell Saga? Well, you basically have something similar to what I did in What If Gohan Was Earth's Hero. So you can check out that video. It's like the reluctant hero in a way. So it's just maybe a bit more enthusiastic, but that what if should really cover you. And Anicia, thank you very much for your extra super chat, and we hope that your answer was really good. Super Thunder and Jacked Out, thank you very much for your super chats. Corvus Terrenda, hey, been a while since I did this, but had to ask this. What if Vegeta was a woman? How would the hierarchy of Planet Vegeta handle that? What about after the Saiyan's destruction? Future Trunks? It wouldn't be a round table without what if Vegeta was female. And it makes my tweet even more precedent. It makes it even more, myself being a clairvoyant. But okay, let's keep this short.
Yeah, let's keep it short.
Like Vegeta.
If Vegeta's a female, her personality in this case, more or less the same. She's not gonna hook up with Goku, no matter how much people want it. It's just not gonna happen. Most likely, if she has to hook up with some kind of Earth warrior, I could probably see it being Tien.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're gonna do a future kid situation, then you might consider changing things up. Like instead of it being a future version of Trunks, it's a future version of Bulla or something like that.
Yeah.
And she's got the third eye, like Tien.
Yeah.
Or something like that, But
yeah.
like if people are looking for that stereotypical Vegeta's a woman, so now him and Goku, so now Vegeta and Goku can hook up and stuff like that. It's not going to happen. Goku's happily married by the time Vegeta shows up to Earth. He's got kids. He's not even all that interested in romance to begin with, and so, that's the short and long of it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would say it was fair. But honestly, in terms of how Tien Shinhan and Vegeta are courting, Vegeta, I didn't expect you to be here too. Is that okay? As a matter of fact, it is. Zip.
Oh god.
Bow chicka wow wow. Okay, and the last one is Nick Wolf, female Cell voiced by Amber Lee Connors. Yes,
Mm.
Amber, yes. Pretty much anyone. She is the quintessential. She voices a good dominatrix, pretty much. And I think Female Cell would be good. Like, I mean, come on, Android 18, Scarlet in FF7. That is the kind of her voice for that is fantastic. You know, perfect. She is like. You know,
I haven't played the remake, so
no,
I was avoiding the
it's
trailers
in
like
Machine
the plague.
Abridged. In Machine Abridged.
Oh, Machine Abridged.
So she, yeah, she even has the Ojo-sama laugh down to a pat as well. So there you go.
Oh my!
Oh,
I'm sorry, but
gosh, Scarlet and Machine Abridged. Yeah, you're definitely right in that regard. It just hit me.
are we going to call her Celine?
Oh, and then you say, you know, even if you destroy my body, my heart will go on.
No.
Celine Dion
You know what?
puns.
Yeah, you know what's funny? This is the line that I could see female perfect cell actually say.
And then basically, like Celine's memories, it's like saying, it's all coming back to me now. You know.
Yeah.
And you punch me like this, and you kick me like that. Yeah, that kind of thing. Oh, Celine. Hashtag Celine. We've had Master Rosie. We've now got
we have
hashtag Celine.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. We've got Master Rosie. We've got Celine.
We got
Apparently,
Celine.
Chat's been telling me since we started that you guys apparently did a Raditz Death by
Yes.
Snoo for Yamcha.
He did it.
Sort
He
of,
did it.
yeah.
It was his
Oh
idea.
yeah, we did. No, seriously, I really want to find ways of writing romantic stories like this. I really do. But I'm like, I
like a good romance and
Oh
a good
yeah, of course.
rom-com.
And unlike
all
Toriyama,
that
I'm
good
not
stuff.
going to shy away from it. I just need to find the right moment and on a platform that I'm not going to get the yellow dollar hit at me. So there you go. We expect fan art of Celine. But okay, if we do this, I will bring What If Goku Was Female forward. So okay.
I'm still just holding out. I'm just still holding out for Krillin and Goku to properly get together. Like, that's the big thing for me. It's like, yes, I know they don't have to be officially like dating or any of those other kinds of things, but like there is a part of me that's like, you know, Saiyans are a pretty carnal species when you really get down to it.
Yeah.
And while they may have developed technology to prevent the whole child rearing scenario for the sake of fighting, that doesn't necessarily mean that they aren't going to get busy. I mean,
Exactly.
Vegeta definitely does. and
Yeah, exactly.
and I just like the Krillin Goku pairing. I think they're a very, very cute pairing.
Do we call it the chestnut shipping?
Chestnut shipping. Oh, okay. All right. On that note, we are all done. So I think we shall wrap things up because it's nearly 10 o'clock. We've been going nearly 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Yep, 3 hours has just gone. We need to wrap things up. So on behalf of myself, Haverok, and Sophie B, it remains just for us to say thank you so much for all of your good ideas and all the support. We really couldn't do this without you. And if you are working today out in the stores or out in the office or out in the hospital or whatever, we really thank you for all that you're doing. So just remember
Big
that
time.
we really value what you contribute and how to keep society going. So all that remains to be said is just good night, everybody. Take care. Stay safe. Stay at home. And